I'm Nate.
And I'm Natalie. Welcome to the Strat Sisters podcast.
On today's episode, I am joined by a special guest, Nate Bishop. After catching up on his runDisney history, he talks all about his recent trip in August 2025 to Tokyo Disneyland. So, lace up your shoes and step into the magic with us. Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2026 and Marathon Weekend week. I hope you had wonderful holidays with your family and are off to a refreshing start to a new year. I can't believe it's already Marathon Weekend week. That's bananas. So, safe travels to you and your family. And I can't wait to see you soon. Speaking of that, Marathon Weekend is tomorrow. So, one day until Marathon Weekend 2026. If you have not yet downloaded your PhotoPass photos and you were at Marathon Weekend last year and you are an annual pass holder, you are going to really want to do that ASAP. They're going to start expiring soon, and you don't want that. You want to keep your photos handy. I will also put in a hydration reminder. As we know, the weather is a little warmer than anticipated at this moment. So, well, I can't say it's like super warm, but it's just that the last couple years have been chilly. So we've anticipated it going colder. I don't know, but I know that there's a little bit of rabble in the online community about the weather, what's going to happen. To me, it kind of is most reminiscent of 2023 and that marathon weekend. I would need Ryan, the weather guy, I really need to get him on to confirm that, because I know he keeps historical data too, which obviously I love. And yeah, so just keep on hydrating, keep watching your electrolytes as well. If you're still packing and on your way down, grab liquid IV, grab more electrolytes, and just kind of be careful. Also, if you have cooling towels from other runDisney seasons, grab them, pack them. Just, do what you need to stay safe. We are also 23 days away from Disneyland Half Marathon Weekend 2026, which is also wild. We're going to get to the event guide next week. So post-marathon weekend, while I'm gone, still working my way back through. But that's crazy how quickly that's coming up. We are 51 days away from Princess Half Marathon Weekend 2026. Only 100 days until Springtime Surprise Weekend 2026 as well. And 289 days until Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend 2026. So the days start coming and they don't stop coming. Something Shrek said that. Anywho, on to our Disney news. We have the 2026-2027 runDisney season, which got announced on Friday, the 2nd of January. Kind of covertly, in a way, kind of just in the morning, just refreshed, which is crazy. I'm going to go through the in-person races first. Wine and Dine, we did know this through the coast-to-coast information that had been shared, but it's going to be October 22nd to 25th of 2026. Club Run Disney registration is going to be February 3rd, and that followed by general registration on February 10th. So if you're thinking of doing Wine and Dine, you got about a month to decide. So I'd anticipate themes to come out like second to last week of January. We'll kind of get our new like precedent also for if they're going to change anything with proof of time, if, dates and whatnot. So sad that we don't have Halloween involved, but it is exciting that we have a little bit of the start to the new season. Marathon Weekend 2027 is going to be January 6th through 10th of 2027. Club Run Disney registration is going to be March 10th of 2026. General registration is March 17th. So get your luck on, St. Patty's Day luck. Good luck, most importantly. Princess Half Marathon Weekend is going to be February 25th through March 1st of 2027. Club Run Disney registration will be May 26th, and general registration will be June 2nd. So it is taking that like later week again. Oh, that's kind of sad. There'll probably be no farts overlap. Bummer. And then Springtime Surprise is going to be April 15th through 18th of 2027. Club Run Disney registration will be on June 30th, followed by general registration on July 7th. So what's interesting is that they kept that like earlier time frame that last year had with the Disneyland of it all. So historically, Wine and Dine has taken that like March registration slot. Marathon Weekend is in April. Princess comes in June. Springtime is either July or August. So, but they kind of kept the other slots, so to speak, in terms of what the registration dates are. But I was kind of expecting things to push back that way, I'm not going to lie. But Mickey's just got to get his direct deposit from me with the monthly. But I'm going to talk about the virtual offerings as well. We're going to have a summer virtual series. Registration will be on April 7th of 2026, which will be very exciting. We have a new event, which is the Run Disney Virtual Spooktacular for the month of October. Registration will be on August 11th of 26. And then we will have the 12 Ks of Christmas return, registration occurring on October 6th. So all exciting. Kind of love that we're keeping the Halloween theme alive, even if Disneyland Halloween Half Marathon Weekend is going to glow away temporarily. But exciting times. Awesome to see the new season be up and at 'em. Finally, the dates, which is great. In other news, we have our shoes. Good Morning America on Friday, January 2nd, announced the Brooks shoes for Marathon Weekend, and then Brooks did post them on their socials as well. So what we already knew was that Stitch is returning, and that was announced with the merch drop for Marathon Weekend. He will also go over to California, and then he's supposed to glow away. We have a new set of Mickey Mouse shoes. They're mostly black, got a Brooks logo in red, yellow bottom. They have this like fuzzy part too, and like Mickey's signature, which is kind of neat. They're Ghost 17s. Now, next are the, I'd say a little bit more controversial ones, but shout out to Amanda at Once Upon a Marathon for the eagle-eyed catch in Run Disney's reel. I immediately had to message her about this because we had Chip and Dale. These shoes are so stinking cute. They're going to be Ghost 17s. And the controversial part is that they're brown shoes. Listen, friends, I live in a new development that's still under construction. There is construction, dirt, dust everywhere. Brown shoes, I think, were made for me. Now, I don't really run in Ghosts anymore, so I may be bypassing this experience, but brown shoes were made for me because they're just going to absorb the dirt, right? Like I won't be taking my steam cleaner to my shoes to clean them right before a race weekend. Because usually I don't really, shoes are going to get dirty, but sometimes those lighter colors, I'm like, oh, and I still get them and then they get dirty. And then, it's a shoe. It's meant to be worn. It's not meant to be put in a museum. Next, we have the castle shoes as they've been kind of being described. These are our Marathon Weekend event shoe. They're this like dark blue with some orange in there, almost like dark enough of a navy blue to be almost indigo. Really pretty. They are Ghost Max 3s. You can see they have little Mickeys on the laces. Marathon Weekend is in the sole. Very cute. Um, they look great. I love that like a dark shoe moment. And then we do have the Run Disney like newer colorway. So I was right. I predicted it. Taking out that neon yellow and kind of popping in the whites. I know I just said that I usually tend not to buy white shoes, but I probably maybe get these because they're Adrenaline 25s. So head over to Brooks Socials if you want a little bit of a better look at these. I think they're awesome. There's a really cool embossed Run Disney logo on the Adrenalines. So the colorway, it's pretty. It's really cool, and I can't wait to see. We also got to look at the shoe charms. There are 6 of them in there. Definitely a little dopey. So it does seem like they're charging for those now versus it was free with purchase the last couple of expos. But yeah, that's exciting. It's about all I got on news at this point in time. If it's not too surprising, I am recording a little early because I got 2 episodes to produce prior to going to Marathon Weekend to keep your ears entertained throughout your travels. But should have gotten your check-in pass yesterday, which was exciting. So runner tracking should be available at some point today if it wasn't available yesterday. On to a fun fact, though, which is fun for some, but not for others. On this day in 2008, today is the last day of existence for Disney MGM Studios in Florida. As of tomorrow, it will be called Disney's Hollywood Studios. Listen, everybody. It's 2026. Disney's Hollywood Studios is almost 18 years old. Disney's Hollywood Studios can buy a lottery ticket tomorrow. I think maybe it's time to stop calling it MGM. And if you hear that, those are noises in the background of Mr. Natalie going, "No, never." Not actually, but he definitely will protest when he hears that. So anyway, just a little food for thought. Although it does still feel more recent than 2008 that they changed the name. But yeah, it's almost been 18 whole years since it was MGM, which is nuts. Ah, what a time, what a place, what a day. We are going to roll on in to our main topic of the week. This has been highly anticipated. My friend, buddy Nate, who I know through the monorail crew, is here to talk about his trip to Tokyo Disney.
Welcome, Nate, to the podcast. First guest of 2026, which is very exciting. So, who are you?
Who am I? That's a little question. Well, first off, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's great to be on the podcast. So Nate Bishop, I think Nat and I know each other from many, many Run Disney weekends. And long story short, you can find me on, all the socials at, it's Nate Bishop, or you can find me over at my website, which is dismortons.com.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, how did your Disney story start?
My Disney story started when my memory was at its absolute best. My parents brought me to Disney when I was 2 years old. So that first trip was my favorite of all time. I remember everything, down to the detail of crying at Mickey because he scared the crap out of me, and taking wonderful naps watching the parade because I don't think I remember any of it. I took a good solid nap. No, but long story short, my parents basically were huge Disney fans. My dad was a diehard Disney fan kind of growing up. He always had a dream of kind of working for Disney in the Imagineering section, to the point where he went through and interviewed actually with Disney and did quite well, went pretty far in the process of almost being hired by Disney to be an Imagineer. But then just continued their dream of going to Disney all the time. They did Disney for their honeymoon. And then once they had me, and I was, I guess, quote unquote, old enough, I was like about 2, they started bringing me to Disney every year. And they loved it so much that they bought DVC, and then we just kind of grew from there. And I guess you'd say when you grow up Disney, that's kind of my background. I, at this point, go to Disney 3, 4 times a year with myself, my wife, and we're DVC members, all that fun stuff. So
Love that.
Yeah.
Somewhat similar story here in terms of being two was still free. My older brother was four. Uh, can't say I remember a lot, but it was, about my parents making the memories too of like
Yep.
seeing like Big Mouse is real.
Yep.
So on the Run Disney side, what does your
Mhm.
Run Disney history look like?
So my run Disney history doesn't go nearly back as far. So my running history is kind of actually where this all starts. I played soccer growing up, and when I got done playing soccer, I told myself I would never run another day of my life because I absolutely hated it. I was a goalie, so I always complained that why do I have to run? I don't run during the game, but I still had to train with the rest of the team. But from there, I then met my wife Serena, and she was big into running. And the funny story is, when we first started to go for runs together, I couldn't even run 3 miles. We would go to this pond, it's about a mile and a half lap. I would run one lap, then I would sit on a bench and wait for her to show up after she ran another 2 or 3 laps. And I kind of tried to recover, and whatnot. But then, like, from there, it just kind of grew. I started running more with her and kind of got back into it a little bit. And then ultimately, my sister-in-law and I, Alicia, decided to run together and do a wine and dine race. We heard about it. We never kind of did it. And this was back in the day when the wine and dine used to be run at nighttime.
Ah,
And this was the famous one that changed the wine and dine from being a night race to being a morning race. So we were at the last one where essentially there was severe thunderstorms in the area. There was
mm,
heat lightning all night. And we were supposed to start at the Wide World of Sports and then run all the way to Epcot. Well, about 10 p.m., we're still sitting at the Wide World of Sports, everybody inside, because we're on a delay waiting for the lightning to clear. It never rained. It was just uber
mm,
humid and heat lightning and not safe conditions, to the point where they had to cut the race down from being a half marathon down to being, I think it was about 7 miles. Basically, they cut off all of Animal Kingdom.
mm.
And you just basically ran straight from Wide World of Sports through Hollywood Studios and over to Epcot. So that was my first ever run Disney race. And it was one of those medals that I have that I'm like, yeah, it's a half marathon, but did I really run it? We'll say yes, but not really. It's one of those weird moments.
Hmm.
But that's where it all started from. And then after that, Serena and I decided to do one of the Star Wars, half
Oh,
marathons together, and then took a break. And then, I got big back into it, about 4 or 5 years ago, and then started doing the challenges, started running a bit, and now I'm gearing up for a big comeback. I've taken this year off on purpose, and I'll be back in wine and dine next year, hopefully.
is there anything related to a dwarf that you're thinking about?
It's a dwarf and then some. So my goal is to next year, starting with wine and dine, assuming I can get into all the races, is run all the races.
Perfect season. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for because I've done a marathon, but I've never done the dopey. And after doing my first marathon, I said if I'm going to run another marathon and torture myself, I would do the dopey.
Yeah.
So here I am. I'm going to try to sign up for it, and I'm also not my. Then Serena's going to do it with me, so she's going
Ooh.
to do. She's going for all the challenges because of her work schedule. She's not going to do the 5Ks on. I think it's going to be on the Princess and on the Wine and Dine,
Mm.
but I'm going to try to do all of them. And hopefully, we'll also throw in a 5K maybe at Castaway at some point too. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Ooh, love a little perfect season moment. It's funny. It's like that perfect challenge season. That's kind of what I'm going for this year, which is
Hmm.
also kind of funny because so I missed the 5K at Disneyland. I mean, I didn't. I got my bib so late for that I was just happy to get. And then I also got the challenge a week out. So I
Oh wow.
upgraded my bib to a challenge. I was supposed to do the half standalone, and then I did the wine and dine challenge, which was also a late bib. Dopey, I was signed up for from the beginning.
Hmm.
Princess or Disneyland, I did get a bib for. I'm trying to squeeze the 5K in, but also it's okay if it doesn't happen. Just like
Hmm.
if there's any last minute openings. Princess, I'm doing all three, and then springtime, I don't have a bib yet, but it seems that I acquire those easily. So
Those, yeah,
it's wild. I keep saying to people, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing springtime, but like probably see you there.
yeah.
But yeah, ooh, I love a little perfect season moment.
Yeah,
The
I've
two
never done it,
races.
so figured
Yeah.
it's time to do it.
Especially when you do dopey.
Mhm.
Because I don't want to say it's all like downhill from there, like not like in the because a half marathon's still like a to do, like
Yes.
in it being 6 weeks after the marathon. it's still a thing. Like it's still a to do. It's still a like you're still a little crinkly uh in terms of how your bones feel, but
Mhm.
at the same time it's kind of nice like when you get to the end of Princess it's like, "Oh, I don't have to run a marathon tomorrow." And you get to the end of Springtime it's like, "I don't even have to run a half marathon tomorrow." That's awesome. But
That is, yeah. So I figured if I'm going to do all that training again, because I did it for I did the Columbus Marathon. I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and did wine and dine. I think a week later, which was the most torturous thing in the world. And so if said I'm going to do all that running again, I might as well make it worth it and do the whole season. So
love that. Yeah, no, it's tough to do it that quickly. I
yeah,
already huh.
yeah, that was a very like the 10K at the wine and dine wasn't bad. Then the half, I think my first 4 miles, I for me was torture. My legs did not want to move, and I just finally said, you know what, I gotta run it. So I just ran.
Yeah. Oh, do I feel that in my little bones? Will I probably do something dumb again? Yeah, probably,
We
most
all do.
likely.
We all
Yeah.
do.
We just Mickey it, right?
There.
Uh
Yeah.
that's just what happens. Speaking of something that is long
Mhm.
and I wouldn't say arduous, but with a good payoff, but we'll go with that. Uh talk to me a little bit about your trip to Tokyo in 2025.
Oh boy, that is the trip of all trips. So little backstory. So my wife and I, Serena, have been planning to go to Tokyo multiple times,
Okay.
and the trip has been canceled twice, and then we finally got to do it in August 2025. August of 2025. So to say the buildup was there, it was there and then some. So our expectations were through the roof.
Mm.
But yes, we decided to go to Tokyo Disneyland in August, and we did it as part of a larger trip. We went to Japan for about 2 weeks, just because if we're going to fly that far, we might as well do it.
Yeah.
And we thought it'd be a great way to start. We went back and forth. Should we do Tokyo Disneyland first? Should we do it last? And we said, well, there's no better way to kind of like become accustomed to a completely different culture than to start at Disney. Then, it should be something familiar but different and kind of expose us to the language a little bit more, the food a
Hmm.
little bit more. And then from there, we can kind of spread our wings and kind of explore Japan and be a little bit more accustomed to what's going on. Plus, when you're kind of in a daisy kind of fog, it's great to see Mickey. It's perfect time to
True.
kind of wake you up when you're trying to not be so tired. But to say it's a long trip is an understatement. It is a trip and a half. When we flew over there, I think it came out to be about 14 hours of airtime. We flew from Columbus to Dallas, Dallas to Tokyo.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Nice long trip as far as that goes. And when you land, you are completely upside down. It's like 12 hours, 11 hours, depending on where you live on the East Coast. And you're trying to figure out if you should be awake. Should you go to bed? Should you not? Um, and you're also in a culture that is completely different when you walk into it. And like little things people don't talk about, like it's very quiet. And when I say quiet, I mean very quiet. Like if you're talking in the like customs line, you're probably the only one talking, and everybody can hear you. They're very polite and very patient and very meticulous on details that take longer than you expect. Especially when you go through customs and immigration, it takes you way longer than you would ever think it was. But when you arrive at Tokyo Disneyland, it feels like home. It sounds really
Hmm.
weird to say, but it feels familiar but different. Everything is going to be like, I recognize that castle, but wait, it's a little bit different as far as that goes. So it was a great trip, and we can dive into all the details. Let me know where you want to talk about first.
Ooh, I love that you mentioned that it feels like going home because I was curious, like where in the trip it was,
Hmm.
but it that's a really good way to a culture or like kind of accustom yourself to it, especially with different kind of cultural differences and like okay, like this is like in a more comfortable place, but because that castle is very very similar, if not I don't want to say completely the same to Cinderella Castle in Florida, correct?
It is 100% to every detail. Will be the same when the castle is
Yeah.
brought back to its original color. So yeah, it's the same exact castle. There is a few differences, not in the actual castle, but around the castle. Like the
Okay.
hub itself, is completely different feeling. Behind the castle, it's not like which you would expect it. Actually, there's a Sorcerer Mickey statue, which is really cool.
Ooh.
So like there are these little differences that you would see, but like if you were just looking at a picture of the two castles next to each other, it would feel very similar. The big thing also is the Walt and Mickey, the partner statue, is actually elevated and brought closer to where their version of Main Street is. And
Oh,
so that way, when you take a picture with the statue, there's no people behind you because essentially they think about the fact that you're higher up, that you don't get that whole crowd behind you and get a much more of a professional looking picture. It's those kind of details that the Japanese think about.
that's amazing. I can't wait to dive into just detail like things like that because not only did they have other parks to kind of go off of, but just the like attention to detail,
Mhm.
especially. I think that's awesome.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Imagine that Metal Monday.
You would have amazing pictures. I mean, Tokyo Marathon. There you go.
That is true. That is where my co-host is going. So, um, she's got to go. She's got to
Hey,
go
that's
for
awesome.
sure.
That is fantastic.
For sure. Wow. So So how many days did you spend at Tokyo Disneyland?
I would say we did as a quick trip. So, give you an idea, we flew in. The first night we didn't stay at a Disney related hotel. We stayed in the Tokyo Bay area. We stayed at the Hilton, which was right across the street from Fantasy Springs Hotel.
Okay.
Um, so we spent the first night there. The next day, we moved over to Fantasy Springs. So we stayed at the Fantasy Springs Hotel, the brand new one. So we walked across the street, checked in our luggage, and then we had our first day at Disneyland, and then the next 2 days at the Tokyo Disney Fantasy Springs and Disney Sea as a whole entire park, as far as that goes. So we did about 2.5 days.
Okay.
So it was a quick trip. We just kind of did it that way because also it's hard to get multi-day tickets for it. You have to buy individual tickets every day.
Interesting. And they don't park hop there.
Park hopping is currently not available.
Okay.
The only way to get like a multi-day ticket is to go through a package is what we did. So we did it as a whole entire
Okay.
package, but you have to do one day at Disneyland and one day at Tokyo Disney Sea. You can't do everything at Tokyo Disney Sea.
Gotta wonder where the demand is. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. That's interesting. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Did you feel like that was, I don't want to say was it enough time, but there's like the Disneyland effect of
Mhm.
our two parks right by, I guess, are they right by each other in the same way where you enter security once, or how is like your
No,
setup
they
there?
actually sit back to back to each other. So you
Oh,
take the
okay.
so you can actually take the monorail, which I think everybody knows you pay for the monorail. If you don't, you
Hmm.
do pay for the monorail. It's considered public transportation in Japan. It's like $1.
Hmm.
But you can get a little pass on your phone, tap in, tap out. Very reasonable to kind of get around. The parks themselves, the entrances actually are not near each other. So
Okay.
it's kind of like the back sides abut each other, which is kind of nice. So you feel like you're in different areas. So you can't just walk across the street to one as far as that
Hmm.
goes. But from that perspective, it is very condensed. And when I say condensed, like your downtown Disney is like attached to Disneyland, and then there's your Tokyo Disney Sea, and the hotels are all right there. So
Okay.
it's very similar to Disneyland feel, where like if you walk across the street, you're going to be out in not Tokyo per se, but you're going to be out in the Tokyo Bay area, which is just more other hotels. You can see Hiltons, you can see everything like that.
Okay. Interesting. Let's kind of dive into your day at Tokyo Disneyland. I'm very curious. I'm both curious about attractions we don't have, but I am
Mhm,
very curious about attractions that we do have in the United States and kind of like
mhm.
what our differences are.
Sure. Let's dive into it. So, fun thing. So, they don't do early entry. They do what they call happy entry, which is just their variation of it. And it's only 15 minutes.
Okay.
And it only works the night after you stay, meaning like once you stay at a Disney hotel, the next morning you get your happy entry. So the day you check into the hotel, you don't get it. So for our Disneyland day, we did not have the 15 minutes of happy entry.
Okay.
15 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but I can tell you, like, if you've ever seen the mass crowds enter Tokyo Disneyland or Tokyo Disney Sea, 15 minutes does give you a little bit of a head start. You usually get one or two rides in. I will also say our trip happened to be during not Golden Week, but the second busiest vacation time ever in
Oh,
Japan. I'm not sure what they call the week. It came from the top of my head, but essentially the whole entire country is off, and this was the first weekend of that week off.
Oh boy.
But for somehow we got lucky on our Disneyland day. So we got there, we got in line and we waited. Very organized, very easy. What's really kind of interesting is like when you walk in, it's different than walking into like the Magic Kingdom or into it's more similar to walking into Disneyland where like you have a essentially like a little walkway you go through and then like an arch you go through. Then
Mm-hmm.
you get to their main street, which is covered. So like that's
Yeah.
completely different than what I think most people are used to is that it's actually got like a glass ceiling to it to do for rain because I think there's a rainy season in Japan usually in the spring. And when we were there is like the hot season. In
Mm-hmm.
if you're used to Florida hot, great. It's not Tokyo hot. Tokyo hot is like Florida hot times 10. You're
Extra
going to sweat.
spicy.
Yeah. There's a reason why you carry around an umbrella. It's not for the rain, it's to make your own shade. Um,
Wow.
but it's really kind of cool. So the way they kind of frame it is you walk down Main Street. Main Street's a lot wider. Think of it as like 4x as wide as what you would expect Main Street to be as
Whew.
far as that goes. So you can allow people to easily walk through. But then they also frame it up where the arch itself kind of frames the castle in the middle. So the first thing you kind of see is the
Oh.
castle as you're walking up with all the people. So it kind of makes it a really kind of fun feel, like an exciting vibe. The layout is very familiar but different. So all your lands will be in the same places. Like you'll
Mm-hmm.
have Tomorrowland to your right, you'll have Adventureland to your left, and behind you you'll have Fantasyland, and off to the left you'll have Frontierland. So you kind of just go which direction you want. So like
Mm-hmm.
we kind of made a decision like some rides we were definitely going to do, and some rides were like, well, that's probably very similar. We're not going to do it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, for example, like we did not do Jungle Cruise because we felt like the humor would just not be recognized by us because it's going to be 100% Japanese, and
Fair.
it probably was not going to be enjoyable. So we started with Pirates because it felt like it was going to be a fun time. So Pirates is actually Disneyland Pirates. So if you're ever into Disneyland and went on their Pirates, it's that variation of it. It's just a weird feeling because the first thing you see is like the Magic Kingdom castle, and then immediately you see a Disneyland ride. So it's like you're like, I know this, but I don't know this. This is so familiar but so different and so like confusing but so great at the same time. So we went on that. That was a great time, and then we decided to knock out some of the Fantasyland fun rides. They have rides that you don't have at Magic Kingdom in Orlando. So, for example, they have the old Snow White. So we went on the old Snow White, those kind of
Scary
rides.
Snow White.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Before we die, I should mention too, part of our package is you do get guaranteed fast passes,
I
which
was
is
going to ask
nice.
about that.
Yep. So we booked a couple ahead of time. You're forced to take one as a Meet Mickey, which is, absolutely great. But at the same point, it's not associated to a ride. So for our guaranteed fast passes, we did Beauty and the Beast
Oh
and
yeah.
we did Winnie the Pooh, which we'll talk about. And then
Oh
at
yeah.
the time we went, it's also the 40th anniversary of Tokyo Disneyland, or the
Oh
tail end of it. So they also have what they call this 40th anniversary fast pass free thing, where essentially you could also get a free fast pass as well. So we got one of those for Monsters Inc., which is their different ride there that we can talk about for sure. But anyways, so we're wandering around doing all in the crowds weren't that bad. Everything is much more spread out. So if you think of like Disneyland feeling very condensed, you go to
yeah.
Magic
Mm-hmm.
Kingdom like wow, this feels vast. It feels like I can walk anywhere. It's way
Elbow
bigger,
room.
way elbow room to walk around. You go into Tokyo Disneyland, you feel like you can roll a bowling ball down the middle because there's so much space. Like Fantasyland feels like, oh my god, like I don't feel like I'm in congestion. It's amazing. It's like unbelievable. And then the part that's really cool is like it's almost too clean. I don't know how to say that like without like making it sound weird. But you're like you look around and it is cleaner than clean. Like there is not one piece of anything on the ground. I don't think I saw one time a piece of gum on the ground. I don't think I saw like a sticker stuck to anything. Like
Even like a leaf. Like
I it was like crazy, like almost like too immaculate that you're like, this is too clean. This has to be
I'm gonna
dirty.
mess it up.
Yeah.
Like
You felt
I'm
like
gonna
you couldn't touch
scuff my
them.
shoe and it's gonna ruin it. Wow. That's
But
awesome.
yeah, it was really kind of cool. So like like I said, you feel very familiar, and like you're
Mm-hmm.
going on the rides, and they feel everything feels familiar. You like Small World feels like Small World, like
Mm-hmm.
but like it's to like the Disneyland version where there's a ton of little characters inside of it. You have like Aladdin, you have Jasmine, you have Pinocchio, and everything is done the way that you would expect it to be on opening day for a ride. So when like you think of like the ride that you went on was at its absolute best, that was that. Everything was 100% working. There wasn't anything that wasn't working, as far as that goes. So it's really, really cool. Like it's really odd to see like anything not working. Like it's not like going to ride Dino at Animal Kingdom and you're trying to guess whether or not the dino is actually going to jump out or not, or whether or not he's going to move. No, everything worked. Like, or going on Rise of Resistance and like, are the cannons moving? Yes or no, or like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. You know, that was all definitely working as far as that goes. And they will shut down rides, and they have no problem shutting them down if things aren't working or if they're going to make a change to them. So, like when we were there, um, they do the Nightmare Before Christmas Haunted Holiday.
Oh,
So
nice.
that was shut down, the Haunted Mansion,
Oh,
which is fine. It's the same
yep.
Haunted Mansion we've done a million times.
Yeah.
And then also they are in the process of rebuilding Space Mountain, like legit rebuilding. It's 100% knockdown, like building a new one altogether. So that wasn't there. But there's
Ah,
three probably unique rides that Tokyo Disneyland is known for. First and
hmm.
foremost is Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, I want to hear about it.
Like, so I can't even explain it. It's like one of those things you go on the ride and the animatronics are like jaw dropping. You're like, are those real people? Is that really doing what you think it's doing? So basically, you picture this ride that you go on. You're sitting into this giant kind of teacup, and think of it like a Minnie and Mickey or Remy, where it's all trackless and you're moving around, and you go into all the famous scenes. So you think about like the scene where it's like, be our guest. You think about the scene where they're outside throwing snowballs and they're talking about falling in love.
Oh,
And they're all sing-alongs. So every room you go into, it's this giant kind of dance floor. And who's dancing? You are inside the teacup. You are the one dancing inside the teacup. There's obviously the animatronics that everyone's seen online. Probably if you Google them,
hmm.
they're all there. And you're just the cup moves up and down, left and right, and you're kind of just all moving around and enjoying the whole entire ride. The one thing that we went on it twice and we couldn't figure it out. They actually physically make the beast transform into the prince.
Yes. I think it's a
Legit.
Pepper's Ghost thing, right?
I
I
think it is, but I cannot figure out how they do it.
I
It's not
love
like,
when you have the brain itch though, and you like can
yeah,
like you're trying to figure it out but you can't.
you look at it and you're like, oh my God, did that really just happen? Like he
Yeah.
was a full fledged animatronic and he's gone and it's another animatronic. And like, it's one of those things like even if you like video it, it probably doesn't do it justice to like
Hmm.
actually witness it in person. But that ride alone is worth it. Like if there's a wait in line for it, you want to do it. It's probably one of Disney's better, newer dark rides that they've done.
Hmm.
Without in quite some time, in my opinion, it's very plenty long. The queue is amazing. You walk through the whole entire castle. But if you do the quick ticket like we did or the fast pass, you don't see the castle. You kind of see the end of it. They bring you right to the front and then right into the ride. So you don't get to go kind of walking through the castle and all that kind of stuff. But we did the second time just to get the experience of the whole entire thing.
That was
So
smart.
the castle is a legit castle too. Like it's not like when you go to like Magic Kingdom and you kind of like walk into the castle for dining and like it's the call it about 12 feet tall. This castle is the full fledged. It's probably equally as detailed as the regular Magic Kingdom castle. Like it's like a legit castle,
Wow.
and the amount of detail they put into it is un- amazing. Like they made the full castle to the size where you're like you feel like you're there. It looks like a castle straight out of Europe as far as that goes.
Wow. That's incredible.
And then there's a pre-show, and I don't want to ruin anything for people, but there's a pre-show that is just as equally impressive. We're talking about full-fledged animatronics in the pre-show, all that kind of stuff. The hardest thing is that every ride is going to be in Japanese. So if you
Hmm.
don't know the stories, well, follow along as best you can, because that will lead me to the funny thing that did happen to us. So like after we did that, we're like enjoying the rides and whatnot. And because it was felt like Magic Kingdom and it felt like Disneyland, you think you know things. And
Hmm.
let me tell you, you don't. Like I thought when I was in Tomorrowland and they had this like they had something called Stitch Encounter. I'm like, oh my god, you gotta be kidding me! It's like the old Alien Encounter at Magic Kingdom with Stitch, because they did make that to a Stitch version at one point. I was like,
Oh yeah.
I have to do this. Like I want to do this ride. And because my sister in law and her boyfriend were there and they never experienced it before it went away, we're like, we are absolutely doing this. And we're walking in, and the cast member in the front looks at us and goes, just so you know, this is all in Japanese. We're like, yeah, yeah, that's fine. We don't. He's like, no, it's all in Japanese. You guys will not understand what's going on. We're like, no, no, it's cool. We're good. We are good. So we get there and like we're all excited, and then all of a sudden we go to like sit down to watch the show, and I go, oh, it wasn't the Stitch Encounter that we remember from Magic Kingdom. It was their variation of Turtle Talk with Crush, but with Stitch.
So no hot dog burp, but
No hot dog burp, but we got a full fledged, like we legit had no idea what's going on. Stitch is like interacting with people and they're doing things. Everybody around us is laughing. Everybody's just like sharing stories. And like, here are three Americans that are just, or four Americans just kind of like look at each other going, I have no idea what's going on. And at one point, I swear they must have found us in the crowd because we ended up on the camera and we're like, uh-oh, this is not good. So we're just like looking around other people, what they're doing and trying to like mimic what they're doing because there's like some sort of dance thing. So we weren't just like that awkward people. But
yeah.
yeah. So don't just assume because you recognize the name of a ride that it might be the same thing that's back here stateside. But that was fun. It was one of those like fun little stories that we had.
That is fun. That is fun. Even
Yeah.
if I didn't understand it, probably interesting to kind of just like people watch and get, like Stitch doing something funky too.
Yeah.
That's so funny, and I'm sure they've had so many people go in like, "What the heck?"
The fact that he stopped us and said that, I guarantee you, we weren't the first people to ever do it. So I'm
Yeah,
guarantee you that was something that happens all the time. And they're like, oh, we should probably start to warn people about this. And
yeah.
they should, we should have listened. We learned after that to listen. So from there, we went across the way, and that's where the Monsters Inc. It's like ride is actually right across the way from it. So we went to do that. So if you've ever seen this ride, it's basically the flashlight ride. So if you've ever seen like essentially similar to like a game based ride like Toy Story Mania
Hmm.
or Buzz Lightyear, instead you use flashlights and you have flashlights in
Oh.
your hand that you would then flash on different monsters to make things happen as you go around with Boo and whatnot.
Hmm.
So it's a really kind of fun ride. Like we didn't know all the like rules of the game because we just couldn't. But if you don't, you can still have a blast. It's one of those things where like I've done the Monsters Inc. ride in California,
Hmm.
where it's kind of like it's fine, it's a good ride, but this actually made the most sense for what they did. And basically, you're all facing one direction, and you're just kind of taking a flashlight, and when you like highlight somebody, they'll do some sort of interaction. Like there's
Oh,
different ones that
cool.
like in the animatronics react to you hitting them with the flashlight, and you do that, and you get points somehow. I'm not sure what they mean or what the ultimate goal was, but we got points, doing that. It was a very, very popular ride. So like, it's one of those, like, if you can get the little fast pass, definitely do it.
So, kind of a question about that
Yeah.
with the fast pass or quick ticket. Is it something where when you get them like booked in your package in advance, you get the three and that's it for the day, or is it do you get the rolling fourth like at Magic Kingdom or
You
in
get
Walt
you
Disney?
get the only ones you book and that's it. To give you an idea, we're going old school here. We're talking like when you check into your room. So I'll take a step back on the package. So the package itself, so like when you stay at one of the Disney hotels, so in this case, like it's Fancy Springs, the Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland Hotel, a couple other ones, you can book a package and there's a limited number of them available.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like an all-inclusive package. But I say that
Okay.
with quotes because I kind of explain what I learned. So when you book it, you book your room, you book your park ticket, and your park ticket must match up to your room. You can't go more than 3 days, which is why we were there for 3 days.
Okay.
You get a 3-day park ticket as well. Each of your days includes also for those 3 days will include your fast pass with three selections, and they are tiered. So like one tier one and one two tier twos, as far as that goes. Additionally, it automatically include food. So you get like food vouchers for like sit down restaurants you book as far as that goes. And in your hotel, it includes breakfast at the, for us, it included at the Fantasy Springs Hotel, breakfast at the breakfast buffet each day,
Oh,
each morning that we stayed the night previously.
gotcha.
As far as that goes. And then you get a voucher for your own Tokyo Disneyland popcorn bucket, which
Oh,
it's not the popcorn bucket that we're all used to. Just make that they're nice, but it's not like the ones that are like characters or anything like that. It's more of a take the paper cardboard bucket and just make it like a soft, squishy foam size around it, and
okay. So it's
it
not one
has
of the like Tokyo
no,
buckets.
no. But what's nice is that it can actually you can take your paper one and put it inside and it holds it, which is kind
Okay.
of a nice thing as you go around. But you can actually change up your package. So like you go through, you make your reservations, you pick a return time for your fast passes. So at Disneyland, one is Mickey. You can't change Mickey. Mickey is the one you have to take.
Hmm.
And then you can pick two other ones. So we picked Winnie the Pooh and we picked Beauty and the Beast. And then for Tokyo Disney Sea, we can talk about that when we get to that park, but we picked a couple there as well. And then you can choose to book dining, or you're required to book it when you make the package. But then if you can go back after you book the package, you can modify it.
Okay.
And when you modify it, you can remove it altogether. So we removed all
Oh,
the dining ourselves because we didn't want to be tied to certain restaurants were only included, other ones weren't. We weren't sure with the time change how hungry we were going to be at lunchtime, all those kind of things. So you can take them out, but you do pay for your, it does show up the first time you book it all the way through. Just
okay.
know you can modify it ahead of time. And then when you check in, they just give you a stack of paper, like legit paper with like, rip it apart kind of situation. And those are your tickets
Oh man.
for, you get one for each day of the park. You get one for each of your rides. You get one for your popcorn thing. So like legit be prepared to like go old school and handle fast passes like they are physical fast passes because that's what they are. Um, except for the 40th anniversary pass, which was on the app. And you
Okay.
can also buy additional fast passes for individual rides like we do in the United States on the app as well. So like it's a combination of both, and you just kind of have to like get familiar with it because it feels familiar, but it's completely different than what we're used to here. And if you think the My Disney Experience app is not good, then you will not enjoy the Tokyo Disneyland app.
Oh no. Interesting.
Yeah.
Before I push on that a little bit, so do they have kind of like booking windows? You know how at Walt Disney. So how far out can you book your package?
So if you are somebody like me who is a type A personality, right? What I mean by type A is you're the Disney person that has a spreadsheet and you have reminders in your calendar when to book things and when they open on times.
In good
This is
company.
Yep, this is the most stressful thing about Tokyo Disneyland is you are probably going to book a plane ticket. You are probably planning a trip to Japan well before 3 months.
Hmm.
You can't book a hotel at Tokyo Disneyland or a package until 3 months before your check-in date.
Oh boy.
So, and it's also weird. It's not exactly 3 months. So this is what it kind of gets weird is because the packages will essentially open in blocks. So you kind of have to like pay attention. Additionally, you got to look at the time change.
Hmm.
And to make it all work, I had to do because there is an American site. You can book it through
Hmm.
the American site, but the timing from what I've learned was different than the Japanese site. The Japanese site opened earlier than the American site. So I went through the Japanese site and then used the translation functionality in my browser to then book everything all the way through earlier. So
Oh.
it definitely is, there's a lot of different things that you don't expect.
Hmm.
And like you can't be expecting like you're going to book the exact hotel you want. So for example, like we didn't get the exact hotel we wanted from a room preference or whatnot because much like dining for Disney here, these things book up on the first few hours
Really?
really quickly because there's not many rooms. And Tokyo is also like, if you're going over a weekend like we were, Tokyo is the largest city in the world.
Yeah.
And people will just go for the weekend and they live there. So, like, there's hotels that are much more reasonable than the one we stayed at. And we had really no shot at ever booking them. So, we didn't even try. Like, if we were
Mm-hmm.
trying to do it like the most cost effective way, we probably would try to stay at the new Toy Story hotel
Mm-hmm.
that just opened. But like, that is like trying to be the last person to that's trying to like book your dopey bib 3 hours after the virtual queue started, and you're like you're hoping for the best.
Understand what that means.
Yeah, you're trying to hope for the best at that point. You really are. And if you try to go on the wrong path, you end up just like losing out the other path. So we said right up front, we're like, fine, we'll try for the Fantasy Springs Hotel, mainly because it attached to Fantasy Springs, and we'll talk about why we did that over staying at like the other one attached to Tokyo Disney Sea, the Maricasa Hotel.
Interesting. Ooh, that's an interesting level of chaos. I guess I'm the most surprised that with how technology forward Japan is, that it is way more papery. That's super interesting because I was going to ask about the app, and
Mhm.
I would feel like everything would have been in that app, but it seems like not.
It's working its way there. I think they're slower to adopt some of the stuff.
Okay.
Like I said, the 40th anniversary was there. The ride times are there. You know, my app on my phone crashed quite a bit.
Okay.
It was just one of those things that just
Me
happens.
here does too. So.
But you also don't link your anything to it. You don't your park
Oh.
ticket. We have our physical park ticket, so we didn't do it there. You we had physical tickets for those fast passes, so we did those separately. Additionally, I think it's because like we decided to go on the path of getting an eSIM over
Okay.
anything else because it was much more reasonable.
Okay.
Because you can't rely on like the Wi-Fi in the park because of how many people there are. There is free Wi-Fi, but you are literally fighting for like bandwidth with too many people to make it even worth your time. So like some of that stuff does work. It works well, but it was definitely just much more of like many times you were like the map's interactive where like it zooms in and out as you click on things,
Okay.
and then sometimes you get stuck, and then you're like, well,
Mm.
time to relaunch this thing.
Ah.
And like it tells you things to do, like make your friends and family thing, but your plans don't share. Like there's a lot of like little quirky things like that. We
Okay.
didn't really find it as a huge value. It's kind of like going to Disneyland. Like the app is fine, but you don't need it. Like it's not as like you know
Yeah.
heavy as Walt Disney World, where the app is pretty much like running your day to day.
Yeah. Okay. That's a pretty fair comparison. Yeah. That is so interesting. Do they do any kind of like memory maker like photo pass there?
Good question. We did not get an option to buy one. They do the photo pass, so it's kind of like similar to Disneyland, where like if you bought like the um, fast pass or lightning
Mm-hmm.
lane for the day, you get your photo pass included.
Gotcha.
You can't just buy it for your trip, as far
Okay.
as that goes. So it's a little bit different as far as that.
Interesting. Huh. Huh.
Yeah, it's like it's familiar but different. It's like very much the same, but very much like Disney World has a lot much more vast things because I think it's much more of a vacation resort. This is definitely more of the Disneyland or probably Disneyland Paris kind of regional park feel,
Gotcha.
where people come for like the day or two and whatnot, and a lot of people are ended up probably going home that night, not going to a hotel.
Got it. Okay. That's kind of fair. It's like Kings Island. uh,
A little better than Kings Island. Kings
yeah.
Island is nice,
Oh, I
but a little
love King.
better.
I was gonna say that is not like a. But when I think of like something where people usually they can go stay at the Great Wolf Lodge or at Cedar Point, you can go stay at the resorts, but or the hotels near there. But
Yeah,
uh, that is said with love. I do miss my Cedar Fair parks in Ohio a little bit. But okay, interesting. That's super
yeah.
interesting. Let's talk about Winnie the Pooh.
Okay. What do you want to know about it? Like, where
Every
do you want me to start? How's that?
uh everything actually. Like I know that that's like a very very amazing ride that everybody talks about. So,
So Winnie the Pooh is completely different than our Winnie the Pooh,
mhm.
but it's very similar to our Winnie the Pooh. And I say that in like the way that the whole story goes, you're gonna be like, huh, this is laid out the same way as I'm used to at Magic Kingdom, where it's going through the same scenes that I'm familiar with. But
Those
each of the
woozles.
scenes, we'll get to that. That was
Oh boy.
unbelievable. So like the scenes are much more robust. So first off, it's trackless
Mhm.
as far as that goes. So your car is you're not on a track as far as that goes. But additionally, what's really it's similar to Beauty and the Beast, where they make each of the scenes bigger, meaning like the area becomes much more robust
Okay.
and there's more things that can happen because of how much more space they had when they built the ride. The animatronics are unbelievable. Like once again, like we're talking very much not just like moving your head left and right, not moving your arm up and down. We're talking full like, animatronics as far as that goes.
Mhm.
You do like a full song and dance with the Hufflepuff and Woozles as far as that goes. So you're sitting there and like you think you're just gonna be like riding through, and you're like, nope, I'm going back, and then I'm going through again, and I'm going back. It
Ooh.
is like probably a good solid minute to minute 15 in just that one little scene alone,
Oh.
with that part of the ride. Additionally, like when you do things like bounce with Tigger and stuff like that, it's much more exaggerated. It's a lot
Mhm.
more robust as far as that goes. Um, it's probably the best Winnie the Pooh ride I've been on, to be honest with you. I think like when you have the ability to build a ride from like scratch,
Yeah.
it shows what Disney can really do instead of trying to make it, built after Mr. Toad as far as that goes.
Rip. That's awesome.
So like I would that ride and Beauty and the Beast were probably a tie for like the one and two top rides for us. Those things were like, very unique and very much like what I would say like Tokyo Disneyland is about.
Hmm.
Like it's not about roller coasters, and we can kind of dive into that because I think this is going to be very eye opening, not eye opening, but interesting to people.
Hmm.
So the roller coasters that we have are we call them thrilling. I would say like different levels of thrilling, whether that be Rock and Roller Coaster, whether that be Thunder Mountain. But let's take Thunder Mountain for example. What makes Thunder Mountain so thrilling for us in the United States is that like it's a bench seat, you have a bar, and if you're a little kid and your dad's on there or mom's on there and they're bigger, you are going to be flying and hoping you fly out. It should be hold on to your kids, not your hats and glasses. But
Yeah.
the Japanese are completely different. Like that is not part of the culture. Like when we say we got on to Big Thunder Mountain, which I would think is like an average on thrill.
Hmm.
So picture Big Thunder Mountain, but you're going to be sitting in an individual chair, and you have a lap bar that pulls down tight to you, like Everest, but you're not having any of the moving around that you would have on Big Thunder Mountain, and none of the big hills like Everest has or anything like that. So it's much more like making you feel safe, and less about the oh my god, I'm going to maybe fall out thrill aspect of it. So it's not quite as wild as you would kind of think. And that was like the thing that kind of caught us because like a lot of the rides were much not as thrilling as you would think a Disney ride would be. Like if you went to do Tower of Terror or their variation of it, which you
Oh.
have to do because if you're a Disney fan, it's basically a homage to Joe Rody.
Oh yeah.
Uh, that's all it is, and he's Harrison Hightower in the whole entire
Hmm.
thing. But when you go on it, it's similar to Disneyland, but you're not strapped in at the waist with like a bar or a seatbelt. You are full fledged over your shoulders and waist belt, like strapped into the seat, like you are not going to move an inch. And it might drop a whole total of 5 feet. Like it's more of a little like light bouncing than like a full fledged like I'm gonna drop all the way down to the bottom. So like the thrill aspect at those in Tokyo is a lot different than what we would expect here. So like you go for more of the Winnie the Pooh's, the Be Our Guest kind of ride.
That is fascinating. That is right up Mr. Natalie's alley, though. I have to say. I've told this story on the pod before, and I will tell you again. He thought that Tower of Terror was essentially like Haunted Mansion, but up and down.
It is.
He didn't think it was a drop ride. And we hear people screaming as the doors open, and we're standing outside Rock and Roller Coaster, which had been closed when we were there. And I was like, "Are you ready for that to be you?" And he goes, yeah. I'm like, okay. Because he requested it in the first place, which I was surprised about because Big Thunder Mountain, funnily enough, like that was like, he doesn't have as high of a coaster tolerance. He doesn't go to theme parks the way I do and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So Big Thunder Mountain was like a lot for him.
Yeah.
Because also I did take him into row 15 too, because I was like, this is where you whip around the most. And then we learned that that's not the vibe for Mr. Natalie. But we get off Tower of Terror and he goes, what was that? I'm like, what do you mean, what was that? I was like, I don't know if we're going to go up or down first as well. And he was like, I thought it was basically like a up and down dark ride. I'm like, no, because I think he had watched the Tokyo version,
Maybe.
or I think that he had maybe watched the Disneyland version when it was Tower, because I feel like you do stop more in your show scenes because you only go up and down on that one. You don't have the forward motion, like you stop longer. So I think he had watched that kind of a video because he's like, yeah, I've watched a ride through video when I was asking him, like, are you sure? So this sounds like it would be up Mr. Natalie's alley, to be honest.
I would think so. Yeah. Like if you go on Tower of Terror and you think about the idea of like when you drop, you feel yourself kind of like lift out of the seat a little bit. And that's like, that's the fun. Yeah. Like that's the fun part. It's like going over the hill in your car and you feel like your stomach kind of do that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't get that. You're tight enough where you're like, I am just in the seat and we're just going up and down. And
it's like when you're on those scary drop towers, like Dr.
And
Doom's
the part that was
Fall.
just, so there's four of us and we're all big roller coaster kind of people and we're enjoying the ride, but you would have thought like you were at regular Tower of Terror based on all the screaming. It was like shrieking and screaming and you're like, what is going on? It's like this, and that was considered scary.
That's
So
funny.
like, it's really interesting that's what it was.
Oh, that is that at Tokyo Disney Sea or is that still in Tokyo Disneyland?
That's in Tokyo Disney Sea.
Okay.
That's
So
considered like their America, New York area.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Before we hop over to Tokyo Disney Sea, not that we hop because we don't park hop, but did you get to see any of the nighttime entertainment?
All right. So here comes the fun story. Here comes the story that like as Disney experts, we probably failed historically on this one. So our first full day in Japan was at Tokyo Disneyland.
Okay.
And we are all very, very adventurous people. Like the night before, we got ramen in downtown, the Disney downtown area, like it was delicious ramen. Highly recommend it. But the next day, we wanted to like have another, kind of Japanese dinner. Like, so we went for like the authentic Japanese dinner, and it was a restaurant that, fun fact, their restaurants are actually on top of Main Street, so you can actually go in some of the buildings and go upstairs, and like the Main Street's not just,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's not just shops. So that was really cool. So we're like all excited about it, like authentic Japanese meal. That's what we're here for. Yeah, that was not the best idea. The food was nothing wrong with the food, but like the authentic Japanese like sushi and stuff like that is literally just what you think it is. It's raw shrimp and whatnot. And we like sushi, but there was like no real like sushi roll like that. It wasn't like, well, we have sushi. It's more like very much like a sashimi style.
Okay.
And also some of the fishes that they use that we don't have here are much more different texture than we're used to. So, and the portions are smaller. So like to give people an idea, like my sister-in-law's boyfriend, he is about 6'4", 225. So like he's also only 30, so he can eat. He eats like, I'm pretty sure he could eat everything in the restaurant if he wanted to. He was like a bigger guy. And he was just like, I can't do this. This food is just not what you expect it to be. And like at that point, like after that, everyone's stomach didn't quite feel right. People were starting to get tired. We planned to see the Paint the Night Parade, which was there, which was very high on our list to see. The fireworks were already canceled. We already knew that. But then there was like another nighttime show over at Tokyo Disney Sea. And we all looked at each other going like, we're not going to make it both nights because we're not sleeping. We're waking up at like 2 a.m. Like we're kind of like all off. Like, let's pick one that we definitely want to see. I'm like, the one that was in Tokyo Disney Sea sounded like it was going to be like Fantasmic meets like Epcot based on how they described it. Ooh. So we were like, let's do that. Okay. Like we all want to see the nighttime parade. Don't get me wrong. But at some point, Paint the Night will probably come back to the United States and we'll go see it there. But then like, we'll just kind of, wait and, do this next time or do it some other time. Well, so we went back to the room, went to bed because we were all exhausted. We, been up since local time of, I don't know, 2 a.m. And it was already like 6 p.m. at night. So we were just exhausted and wanted to get some rest. Well, that was a mistake because we'll talk about the end of Tokyo Disney Sea in this ride when we get, or this show, but see the nighttime show at Disneyland. Don't see the nighttime show at Tokyo Disney Sea. I'll start there.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Good planning tip.
yeah,
Had to learn it the hard way, but
you gotta learn
uh,
somehow.
it's like I'm trying to even think of what a comparison is. Well, I guess we'll find
Oh, I got some comparisons for you. We'll go through those and
Okay.
when we get there.
I feel like Rivers of Light's about to catch a big stray here.
Hey, I actually like that show a lot. Well, that's a whole tangent, but that's a great show and that was underrated. I'm not sure why people didn't like it, but that's neither here nor there.
I miss Nighttime Animal Kingdom. I also have a lot of like hot takes on Disney nighttime shows, to be honest with you. But that's again that is a whole other tangent. I never actually sat through Rivers of Light in its entirety. I caught like a little bit. I was like, oh, this is cool, but I never sat because I was like, oh, I could go on Everest again and again and again and again and again, and it's like 9 p.m. and I can go again. Like that was
and you
my
can
ride.
watch it from the ride, so you're getting parts of it.
Exactly. I was like, you look over.
There it is, right there. You're good.
So let's go in because I was going to ask you about food and how because I know the
Mhm.
snack game there is supposed to be pretty amazing.
Yep.
So
The snack food was amazing. If you like Japanese food, if you like the things that are like, buns, things along those lines, then you're going to love it. We definitely got the Mike Wazowski
oh yeah,
the melon bun. We had to get one of those. We got the popcorn left and right. We tried every popcorn under the sun that we could, and they're all fantastic. I don't know why we don't get nice things like that here. I got to tell you, like our lunch, we went to, okay, their variation of whatever. We got like a ramen bowl, and it was over in Frontierland, and it was like what they call basically everything is like a special plate or a special meal kind of thing, and it's a pre-constructed kind of meal they put together. And we got the Donald one, which was very good. So it was a cold ramen, so like cold ramen broth, soba noodles, a half an egg. It had shrimp and it had an egg roll and like a little star thing that had Donald's face on it. But the part that was made it so Tokyo Disney in general is they took American cheese and cut out feet that look like Donald's feet. They flipped the egg upside down to make it his Donald butt and put the feet on it so it looked like Donald was head diving into your ramen bowl.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So like that's the kind of stuff that we have to kind of, talk about is like those are the things that are like the food
attention to detail.
The food that's just really good. And like you get the local food that's good. If you get the American food, and we had some of it actually at Tokyo Disney Sea. We'll talk about like it's familiar but different in a good way. And the last thing I want to say at Disneyland, just because I have to, is Country Bears is there in Japanese. And if you like the Country Bears, you have to see them in Japanese because you'll be singing the American versions, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Ooh, is it more like the original Country Bear show that we've had? Okay, refresh.
It's the original, and when we were there, yeah, it was the original, and we actually saw what they call the summer vacation version, which is essentially was only ever done, I believe, at Tokyo. But basically, all the Country Bears are going on a summer vacation, so they all have like their Hawaiian shirts on. They have all kinds of
fun.
stuff. Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, I love that. Were there any kind of cool characters that even if you didn't stop for them, you kind of saw meandering about? Or I guess is it more like Disneyland where you kind of are just walking around and the characters happen to be there versus Walt Disney World, it feels more like, oh my God, celebrity, like Donald's here.
They tend to be around, but actually it's treated completely differently. So like we line up for characters and things. Like, well, for characters, we kind of like line up for pictures. They kind of make a circle around the character.
Oh.
And like kids go in and whatnot, and it's kind of like I'm not sure how they monitor who's next, but they seem to all have a system, and like it works. So nothing really from a character perspective. It was interesting to see what characters were like the famous ones. Like Baymax is huge because
I hear that.
like if you go to like Hollywood Studios, the Alien Swirl and Saucer ride is never usually a big wait. If it's 30 minutes, that's a busy day.
Yeah.
If you go to Cars Land, and Mater's like 45 minutes. It's a busy day.
Mm-hmm.
If Baymax was under 120 minutes, that was a miracle, which is essentially the same ride that those
Mm-hmm.
two other ones are, but it's because it's Baymax. They absolutely love it. I've never seen so much merchandise that was for Baymax.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I hear that he's got a cult following there. He's like kind of like Duffy, but even like,
he's bigger than Duffy.
yeah,
Yeah, the Duffy. If you like Duffy and you like all his friends and
squad.
what, yeah, that's the place to go because there's more Duffy stuff than I could ever imagine, and they buy it all. It's every single person has 15 different variations of Duffy and friends and whatnot with them.
That's awesome. That's good. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Because my boss, every time I go to a Run Disney weekend, gives me a challenge character,
Mm-hmm.
which was born out of Pluto photobombing a Teams call once. I was
Nice.
working at Epcot, so what can you expect? And so now my boss makes requests. He thought it was the funniest thing ever. And he was like, "You get Goofy next." So that's how the requests were born. One that he has for me are the Rescuers.
Ooh.
They have not been they have not been seen in America in a really long time, but they are supposedly in Tokyo, the fursuits.
I will say that they have been seen in America.
Really? Where?
They were at when I went to Jollywood Nights the first year, they were there.
Oh my god, stop. Oh my god, that's amazing.
And
That's
so was
awesome.
Fat Cat and Monterey.
I think I've seen Fat Cat before because I think sometimes they pull him out for Run Disney.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, that's like my challenges kind of roll over and we add another one
Mhm.
and if I don't get it. So, whoa. So they have been seen in, man, that's awesome. But I know that one's gonna stay open for a while. But maybe, okay, so if they have been in America recently.
They have. They might be on Run Disney. Marathon weekend, they could be there. I feel like that's when they pull out every character they can.
Yes, that's where I've seen Tarzan, like actual loincloth Tarzan.
And you're
But
sure that was an official Disney character and not a random spectator?
yes, actually, that time it was backstage. It's like kind of like when you're getting to mile 1 during the 5K,
Yep.
where they always have a photo of that was actually and he was with Turk.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
yes, he was with Turk. So I was like, because I remember I was like, he's got to be cold. I'm cold because he was in a loincloth. But yeah, maybe because I know my challenges because he likes to give me old school characters. So
Yeah.
my challenges for marathon weekend are Merlin or characters from
Ooh.
Robin Hood.
Oh,
Merlin, I
okay.
have seen from afar during the kind of back to your conversation on you had a half of a half for wine
Yep.
and dine that one year. I did the half of a half in 24.
Yep.
So the wine was absolutely insane. But I was like, I've never seen Merlin before. So
I've only ever seen him in Disneyland, and that was on the parade float.
oh, interesting. Yeah, he was in Florida. So for at least that time. So I know I have my work cut out for me for that. But I like it's fun because then it's like it does change my locus of like when you're driving into the race of like, oh, that definitely looks like it's got to be for joy and sadness. And that was a challenge once. It was like, give me an inside out character, but not joy. So thank
Yeah.
God sadness was out. I was like, oh, that means I have to stop for that one. I mean, it was a selfie stop and that was accepted. But I love the challenges because I know that wow, that's so good. The Rescuers were in the US.
They were.
Well,
And so was Darkwing Duck, if you're really going back to that time period.
I got Darkwing Duck last year during the marathon or during marathon weekend.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm like,
It was the last one. And I was like, there was nobody waiting for it. There was literally no one there. I'm like, oh yeah.
how? How is there nobody there?
Well, it's funny because I feel like a couple years ago at Marathon Weekend, there was the great Darkwing Duck photo incident where it was like people were being told like, you're going to get swept. You're going to get swept. You need to go. And some people stayed in line, or a lot of people basically did big group pictures of like snap and go, snap and go. But it was Darkwing Duck and it was backstage during the 10K during that Dopey that I did.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
God.
last year I did get Darkwing Duck. It was awesome.
That's really
Maybe
cool.
I waited like 2 people, but that's basically nobody.
Oh, that's nobody.
That's no one.
Yeah.
Because it's like basically that's like the point where like you're about to see the gospel choir, like you're done.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes don't stop for that character, even if I want to see them. I'm like, I'm done. Like I'm
That's
ready
why
to like
I always stop for them because nobody does. I'm like, I'm guaranteed to get
Yeah.
a picture of this one. And I always feel
Yeah.
bad. I'm like, because no one's stopping for them. I'm like, okay, I'll stop.
yeah. I've gotten better about actually doing it because I know I got Phineas and Ferb there once. That was a big moment.
Yep, that's a
But
big.
it was very, very funny. Of like, yeah, I have gotten the good old ducks. So we're gonna go across the pond to Disney Sea.
Ooh, nice transition. Look at that.
Thanks.
You look a professional.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, so Tokyo Disney Sea. Kind of how can I'll start from kind of give like a framework. Tokyo Disney Sea to me felt like if you took Epcot's World Showcase and took the countries and made them more immersive.
Wow.
So when I say that, think of like lands being full kind of countries or whatnot. And there's two ways to go into the park. There's the main entrance, and then there was a Fantasy Springs entrance.
Ooh.
And we did a lot of research on this because one of the big things we wanted to see was Fantasy Springs because that was the new part of the park. And this was also the park that had like the most things that we don't have here.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned is like from the front of the park to like Fantasy Springs was like a solid 15-minute walk. It's like walking from the
Oh,
front of Epcot trying to go see the American Adventure first.
noted.
So like you could kind of like you're trekking if you're going there like, but if you can and you can only enter Fantasy Springs through the Fantasy Springs entrance if you're staying at the hotel.
That's fair.
So they kind of guard that as far as that goes for early entry. So that's why we stayed there and we used that entrance and that's where we started because of just those are the rides we wanted to do. We also did get the fast passes again. So for this day, I think the first day we were there, we got it for Frozen, for Tangled, and the other one was for, I want to say it was Journey to the Center of the Earth, as far as that goes. And what we did is we rope dropped Tinkerbell's, like, I can't think of the name right now, but someone's going to correct me probably in your comments, but like, it was a Tinkerbell ride. And like, oh, Tinkerbell's Busy Buggies, which I will say, like, I'm glad I started with that ride because like we waited like 2 minutes for it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very cute ride, but it was like an outside dark ride, which was kind of different. Like it's weird. It's not often you get like an outside slow moving dark ride, but it was more like you have been shrunken down to the size of a pixie, and
Okay.
you're delivering packages.
Oh,
Yep,
that's
it's
cute.
exactly what you, and that is exactly what it is. Like you are literally just driving around and whatnot. I'm like, well, I hope the other rides get a little bit more in depth, but we'll just kind of say like, wow, okay. Oh, in
Kind of
addition
like
to the other,
Alice in Wonderland at
yeah,
Disneyland.
yeah,
You go outside a little bit, you see the tea party,
yeah.
but then you go back in. You're like, okay.
Let me readjust. So we didn't get the fast pass for Jane Center on this day. That was the next day. On this day, we also got Peter Pan, which was the other
Oh,
one with
okay.
Fancy Springs. So it turns out that we found out after we did the Busy Buggies that that was kind of like the variation of like Navi for the area. Like
That's what I was thinking.
it was kind of like the we need one more ride. Let's put something in. So it was Tinkerbell's, and it went right next to the Peter Pan ride. So we did
Okay.
a, so we just walked through Fancy Springs first thing in the morning because we wanted to get other rides done, and we knew like we were told by like the front desk and whatnot, like this was going to be a busy day for people in the park. So we went immediately over after the Busy Buggies and did some of the Indiana Jones rides. So they have two there. So they
Ooh.
have the Indiana Jones like roller coaster ride, which is kind of like picture Primeval Whirl on a with a car that doesn't spin, but then add one loop in the middle, and that's basically what it is.
Okay.
It was a fun little ride. It was one of those rides that once again, you felt very safe. Like I'm pretty sure I could not even move my arms on the ride. Like there was no putting your hands up on this thing. You were locked in and felt good. But it was a really cool ride as far as that goes. Fun fact: if you are about 6'5", you can't ride it because you're too tall.
Oh
Like
wow.
my sister-in-law's boyfriend was almost too tall. He almost had to take his shoes off so he could get on the ride, which I've never seen before. Is like somebody being too tall for an attraction, but he was in that boat. But then from there we did the Indiana Jones, more of the ride we're all familiar with, the Indiana Jones Adventure ride, which come to find out, like this one's unique to Tokyo Disney Sea. So if you're a diehard Indiana Jones fans like I am, like you will find out quickly that each of the Indiana Jones rides where they are each different. So
That's
like the one
awesome.
in California is like the kind of like the Raiders of the Ark kind of feel.
Hmm.
This one was actually the one that nobody, like from a theme perspective, we love, but hey, it was a good ride. It was the Crystal Skull, which is like the one that like is about aliens. At least somebody had to take that one. But it's a really fun ride. It's like dinosaur. It's everything that we're familiar with. But Indiana Jones is what we're all gonna kind of experience in what 2028, give or take, as far as that goes. But the big thing that I'll say, like we're walking through, is the vastness of this park. This park has to be one of the largest parks you can actually walk in. Like everyone talks about like Animal Kingdom being the biggest park. Yes, it is,
Hmm.
but you don't walk the safari.
No,
And if you do, you're probably being chased by some sort of animal and you are going to Disney jail.
true.
So this one you actually do walk, and it is nothing is near each other. Like you are walking and walking and walking, but it's also very, very immersive as you're walking. Like you can clearly tell where you are. The level of detail that they put in is unbelievable. So like the big ride that we wanted to do was the Journey to the Center of the Earth. Now, this was the ride that, like, if you're familiar with it, it's based off of the same type of system as Test Track.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Huh.
But it's not Test Track by any stretch of the imagination. So, like, if you ever seen Tokyo Disney Sea, if you look at the pictures, the big giant volcano is the
Hmm.
actual attraction building for Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Oh,
Yes.
cool.
So the whole idea is like it's based off the idea. I think it's Jules Verne. So you're in this kind of like Jules Verne kind of steampunk kind of area. You walk in and like you can walk into the center of this giant volcano, and you look down, and that's where their variation of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is.
Hmm.
And then you can walk into Journey to the Center of the Earth, which is going to take you on this obviously big long adventure to the center of the Earth and what's actually there. Um, It's a very, very popular ride, and it's one of the ones that I would say of all the rides at Disney, Tokyo Disney in general, the queue was the least impressive. Um,
Interesting.
I think they used all the space for the ride itself, and the queue was just kind of wrapping back and forth and whatnot. But the ride itself is unbelievable. You fly through it. It starts off kind of like similar to, um, we'll say similar to Test Track, where it's a little bit slower, and in
Hmm.
the end is the big race, and you actually race around the inside, from inside the volcano, out the volcano, and around the whole volcano. Going up,
Whoa.
yeah, and there is one animatronic in there that I would say is similar to the size of the dinosaur on Dinosaur the Ride at the end. That size of an animatronic, and
Whoa.
the best way I can describe it is alien meets giant bug. That's all I got. It's like,
Huh.
but as you're going through it, there's all these little different things. There's fire effects. There's everything that you think is unsafe is probably around you. From like you don't think you could do that in the United States. Yep, you can't.
That's awesome.
And it was probably by hands down probably the coolest ride as far as that goes. Additionally, from there we went through and just kind of explored. Like you walk out of this giant volcano, and it's also the backdrop to Italy. So think of Mount Vesuvius or the volcanoes that are in Italy.
Wow.
And like you look out and like the giant lake that you see in front of it, it felt like the size of World Showcase. Probably a little bit smaller, but like that size of a lake.
That's huge.
And you're talking like this is all the Italian section, like Tuscan villages and all this kind of stuff. This is where you'll find their variation of Soarin', which, okay, we'll just talk. The wait time for Soarin' never went below 180 minutes while I was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's,
The same
did
exact
you
ride
say
we had there.
okay. Well, I guess that's an easy skip, but interesting.
The only reason people say to go do it is they say the queue is like the best Soarin' queue in the world. But like, we were not going to wait 180 minutes for a queue.
No.
That
No.
was like a
I think
hard pass for us on that day. Um,
interesting.
yeah. So let's talk about like kind of going through it. Like we went through, and then you did all the Indiana Jones rides, all that kind of stuff. We did do the Harrison Hightower,
Yes.
which you have to do if you love anything about Joe Rody. And no matter what he says, he is Harrison Hightower. He
Oh yeah.
all the pictures all around are there.
Oh, does he pretend he's not?
I think he doesn't really own up to it. He goes, he looks familiar, but not the same. I don't think he
That's
actually like,
hilarious.
yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't know.
But like the whole storyline is very interesting. Like, because I guess from what I understand, what they told us was the Japanese culture don't really believe in the idea of ghosts. Like the
Hmm.
Tower of Terror, like that whole kind of thing doesn't really resonate. So
Okay.
like the whole story is about this Harrison Hightower that more or less steals this idol from like, and the idol is like the thing that just takes over because they believe in that kind of stuff.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't 100% follow the story, but it's the Tower of Terror. It's a good ride.
Yeah.
But if you
Joe
want
Ruby. Joe Ruby.
it's one of the theming is what you go for.
Yeah.
It's really kind of good. It's really kind of enjoyable as far as that goes. So, what do you want me to dive into? You want me to go into a little bit of Fancy Springs? We can go deep into that.
Yes. I'd love to hear about that.
Okay. So we'll start with the ride that I would say of. We'll go in reverse order of my favorites. How's that? So we'll start with the ride that
Okay.
I would say is like third, which would be Tangled.
Really?
Tangled is a very good ride. I would say Tangled is a very fun ride. It's a slow moving boat ride retelling of the whole entire story.
Okay.
Um, the part that's really cool though is like when you start out, you're outside, so it's indoors and outdoors, and you look up and they have the Rapunzel Tower all the way there, and they actually have an
Oh.
animatronic of Rapunzel leaning out of the tower and singing to you as you start off the whole entire ride. So like that was really cool. Like one of the coolest things you kind of like. It's not often you see animatronics outside like that and like
Hmm.
start it off. And they did an unbelievable job recreating the scenes. Like they recreated the lantern scene, which
Oh.
is absolutely beautiful as far as that goes. So like if you like Tangled, it's a good ride. Having the fast pass was definitely worth it because that was a long wait, and I would say like the boat ride length time was probably similar, a little bit longer than Navi, but not like but that kind of a
Okay.
time frame. It wasn't like a huge long ride, but it was a good ride. It was, you can see the all the animatronics that they did very much on par with what you would see like with Beauty and the Beast as far as that goes.
Okay.
Ride wasn't as robust though. Next would have to be the Peter Pan ride. So this is something that I think we're going to see here, and I can explain why. But essentially, you are in a 3D kind of like if you've ever done Spider Man, like a scoop kind of thing, where
Yeah.
essentially you're on this kind of like about 8 people kind of get into this kind of scoop kind of like 3D moving ride with a 3D kind of movie. You wear 3D glasses as far as that goes. And it kind of takes you through like a battle with Captain Hook. And
Oh.
you fly through Neverland and everything like that. Like you're basically the ride vehicle is supposed to be Peter Pan's put you in a ship and
Oh,
you're
cool.
helping the Lost Boys in this whole entire thing. Unbelievable like 3D like immersive screens. We're talking like take Remy's Ratatouille, like the 3D giant dome kind of screens around you, and
Hmm.
kind of move your way through that. There were some physical sets as well, which were really cool.
Okay.
Um, Based upon like the whole ride setup and how it worked, this is probably what they're doing for the Infinity ride in California.
Yeah.
This is probably the same kind of technology, but fun ride. Definitely kind of more taking the idea of like a thrill ride and taking Star Tours and put it on with Mickey and Minnie kind of thing.
Okay.
Like you're gonna move through things and whatnot. By far, the best ride was the Frozen ride. We're talking. We did it twice and it was jaw dropping. Like absolutely jaw dropping what they did with this ride. So it's a boat ride,
Okay.
and it is yes a retelling of Frozen, the first one, but just the effects they do with the animatronics is makes no sense at all. This is similar to Beauty and the Beast. Like if Beauty and the
Oh,
Beast
like
was
the
like,
Frozen
yeah,
thing where Anna becomes real or like live again. Is that
yes.
where
So
this one
they
is?
actually yes. I don't want to spoil it for people, but yes, there's a part where obviously in the movie Anna becomes frozen,
Hmm.
and Elsa brings her back to life, and that happens in the ride, and you're like, how did that even happen? And you're just like, you can't even like put words to what you just saw, but you're like, that really just happened. We're talking everything changed in like a matter of a second, and this is the ride that, if for Fancy Springs, I would say is like the most impressive thing I saw.
Hmm.
Um, Hands down, like if you like more like action packed rides, then yeah, Journey to the Center of the Earth is probably the better ride for that. But if you just want to see like Disney Imagineering at its best from like animatronic and that kind of stuff, then it's got to be the Frozen ride now.
Wow, that's incredible.
Correct. Yeah, and they made Arendelle. Like you walk into Arendelle, and
Oh,
we use the fast pass for it. But if you don't use the fast pass, you walk through basically the castle as well, in Arendelle, to get to the ride. So like not Elsa's ice castle, but the actual castle.
I was gonna
You
ask.
walk to that. Yeah, I gotta separate the two. There's two castles. I mean,
That's true. Two princesses, two queens, two castles.
two, yeah, and you guys gotta have it all. But like
Wow.
that was something that is worth going for. It definitely was really cool. Additionally, there is tons of details throughout all of Fantasy Springs. Like when you're in the Tangled area, if you look carefully, you can look down and see a horseshoe print of Maximus in the ground.
Oh, I love
Um,
stuff like that.
the fountains, like I don't talk about fountains like as like, oh my god,
Like
like,
Modillos.
but like literally the rock work they did, they basically took fountains throughout the whole entire area and put different characters into them and made these like giant like Sorcerer Mickey has a giant fountain with the brooms, but he's like, it's one of those things where you look at it and you have to like get to the right place to kind of see the like kind of like the tree of life to see the animal or
Hmm.
see the and whatnot. They use that kind of technique into these fountains. So you had Maleficent as one, you had Pocahontas in one, and like these were unbelievable fountains. Like I took more pictures of fountains than I ever have in my life because I was just like, this is really cool. Then there's tons of fun snacks in this area.
Oh yeah.
So they had a potato churro,
Ooh.
like something you don't expect. It's not a French fry. It's legitimately a potato churro. So we definitely got some of those. But basically, those are like more or less. Think of a baked potato meets that crispiness that you like from a crinkle fry, like on the outside. But you bite in, and it's not like that fried texture. It's like mashed potato on the inside.
Is it like sweet on the outside or is it still like savory on
Nope,
the
it's a
outside?
100% savory churro.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yep.
That
So
sounds so good.
that was really good. Additionally, we went to this place called Volcania, which is inside the volcano. Go figure,
Yeah.
unintended. But it's kind of like a buffet, kind of a buffet meets cafeteria, so a bufferita, I think people might call it. But essentially, you go through and they have a bunch of different Asian dishes. So like you've like made pao tofu, things like that. Very good. You get more unique popcorns, I would say, in Tokyo Disney Sea. Like your soy sauce
Okay.
popcorn is here, your curry popcorn, those kind of flavors were fantastic. And what else? What else can I go with that? There are other rides in Tokyo Disney Sea that are very familiar to you that we skipped. So we did
Hmm.
not do Toy Story Mania. We didn't do
Oh.
Soarin'. Um, because of the time of year they do the basically if you ever did like Luigi's like dancing cars in
Hmm.
California, they do it on the water.
Oh
So basically,
yeah.
so we were going to do it, but they told everybody ahead of time like we are in what we call ultra soak mode right now. We're like, what? Like they're like, you're not gonna get wet, you are going to get drenched. And we're like, oh no, well we're good on that one. We're like, no one wants wet socks. We're like, we're good on that.
No, that's
um
ultra soak mode. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So like that was very interesting. I want to do it, but maybe next time we'll go with not ultra soak mode. As far as that goes, tons of also like bao buns. So like instead of doing like a corn dog, they did like a bao bun with a sausage in the middle of it, the
Ooh.
whole length, and like it doesn't look like it. anything appetizing, but it's absolutely delicious and highly recommend it. Yeah.
Were any cool like souvenirs, even if you didn't get them, like that you saw around? Or I bet there was. It's Merchtopia, but
So here's my hot take, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but
okay, let's hear it.
the souvenirs weren't great. We didn't buy a lot. We didn't really buy much at all.
Friendly on the wallet, but
Yeah, but like everyone talks about how great the merchandise was, and we were all like, we bought an extra bag. We're like, okay, we're gonna buy a bunch of stuff. Yeah, but it's like things
interesting.
that like maybe it's just because like we're not into the kind of stuff that they had, but like it's a lot of kitschy kind of stuff we noticed. Like when I mean kitschy, like stationery, like pens, like
Mm,
those kind of things. And for like us, like as like like for us for like Disney people, like we collect different things. Like I collect all the tiki mugs. So we're gonna collect like spirit
hmm
jerseys, things like that. Like they don't have spirit jerseys. They don't like t-shirts were very limited on what they had for t-shirt options. It was more about like these little like stuffed variations of like Mickey and whatnot with like clothes on them and stuff like that.
Yeah, like the new emos. I think that's
Yeah,
how you
like those
say
kind
it.
of things,
Kind
and
of.
like yep, and then like things that were like different ears, which I mean, I know I look great in them, but I'm not going to wear them that often. Um,
Fair.
but just not for me. You know, I don't want to like show people up with my ears.
True.
Um, and there was those kind of things. So like we just didn't find merch that we were looking for. Like Serena bought like a more or less it was really like a pencil bag, but we bought it because she didn't use it for passports. We're like, we'll
Oh,
repurpose
smart.
it. We'll repurpose it. But it was like those kind of merchandising things. So like maybe it was just the time of year we went, and maybe it was like kind of like a different merch time. But we didn't find a
Maybe.
ton that we loved, like washcloths, stuff like that. Like we don't decorate our house.
Interesting.
Yeah, we don't decorate our house like that. So it wasn't for us.
Bringing out the holiday washcloths from Tokyo
Well,
Disney Sea.
it was even holidays. It wasn't. It was
Yeah.
like, do you want a Tinkerbell washcloth? Do you want like an Anna
Yeah.
washcloth? Like,
Yeah. That's fair. That is fair. That is really interesting though. Because yeah, if like you're not into the ears, then like the fact that they have the coolest like ears ever doesn't really matter.
correct. Yeah,
Um, or if you're not into like the 62 variations of Duffy and Co. And
correct.
isn't really going to matter. That is interesting. How's the pin game there?
I didn't see really any pins at all.
Really
No.
interesting.
So like the things that like that's why like Serena wanted to buy like everywhere we've gone, she's gotten like spirit jerseys from where we've gone, whether it's
Yeah,
a cruise or whatnot. Nope, they don't offer spirit jerseys.
interesting.
So like it's different merchandise, absolutely, but the things that maybe you collect might not be there. Is something
Well,
that kind of like the kind of way that we took away from it was like, hey, they just have different things,
yeah, it's
and
stuff
the
that works culturally. You know, like if
and
people
the
don't wear spirit
sizing.
jersey,
Yeah,
oh
and
yeah,
this.
I'm curious about that.
Oh god, like trying to find a t-shirt that would fit me. I'm not a big person. Like I'm tall. I have like wide shoulders, but like I'm not like a huge person. I can usually wear like a large. Yeah, that's not going to fit. That looks like I'm wearing some sort of belly shirt, and that's probably inappropriate for most places to wear it. And they're cut differently. And what I mean by that is the sleeves are like longer,
Hmm.
like for like a regular t-shirt. Instead of like going to like the middle of your arm, they go down to about your elbow,
Oh,
and the
okay.
bodies are tighter. And what
So
I mean
almost
by
like a
that,
dry fit, but not being dry fit.
but it's just because I think because like maybe their body shapes are different than ours.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
fair.
sure. It's like kind of like a different kind of fit. And as I went up in size, the sleeves went further down my forearm. So I'm like, this is not going to look really, really great. But I'm like, I had to buy at least one T-shirt, so I definitely bought a T-shirt. But
Yeah,
it was
interesting.
one of those things where like the clothes were definitely a little bit different fitting. Like if you like for example at Disney World, I think they have some of the Tokyo ones there. If you ever
Okay,
notice the ones that look like they're like different sizes or weird kind of cuts that we're not used to, those are the ones from Tokyo usually. And it's usually the
interesting.
ones like if you go to Hollywood Studios, that first store on your right when you go down with like the
I know
jewelry, and there's
exactly
like
what you're talking about.
yeah, so with the jewelry and there's like a few extra like after that, those T-shirts are like the ones from Tokyo.
Huh,
Yeah,
interesting. So that's good or kind of good to know. Because I think that what they're doing, I believe that the Disney Store online now have some of the merch from the international parks too. So I guess in terms of being able to look at sizing, but that was a little bit new. I feel like in 25 that they even had some of that. Interesting.
it's yeah. I mean, it's one of those things like I would always say like try it on. Like
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that you can't really return.
It's
Not like a gift.
it's an expensive return. It's definitely an expensive return if you have to
Oh,
bring
I
it
gotta go
back.
back.
Yep. Oh well.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, it could have been a unique time. We went with there in between
Mhm.
things on merchandise too.
Yeah, because weather-wise, you said it was hot, 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 hot. I feel like, which I'm trying to think of when kind of it is even like cooler there, because I feel like even when you go in February, like it can be pretty hot and humid. But
So when I was talking, we were talking to people about asking about it, and they said like it does get cooler. They say the optimal time to go is usually like fall.
okay,
It tends to be very nice. When we were there, it was, to give you an idea, an average temperature of 101, and the humidity was anywhere between 80 to 90%, but not rain. It never rained.
oh, oh,
So the heat index felt like 120. Like
oh,
I love the heat. Like I go to, like, if you sent me to like Florida in like July and August, I'd be fine. I busted out an umbrella like it was nobody's business and walked around because you need shade.
yeah,
Tokyo
wow.
Tokyo Disney Sea is much like Epcot's World Showcase. There's not a lot of shade.
Hmm.
And like you're talking like by 9 o'clock, if you're not sweating, then you're probably dehydrated. Because like
I bet. Oh man. Oh man, that hot plus the stick, because like California can get pretty hot, but it's not always no humidity, but it's usually pretty dry.
yeah, it's usually pretty
uh,
dry.
except for that one time that, but wow, dang, that's like a because
Hmm.
sometimes like you're standing in the Magic Kingdom, you're waiting for Festival of
Yeah,
Fantasy, and like I felt like sweat dripping down me because of
yeah,
where I was in the sun. I'm like, this is fine. Let's wait for Tiana's because I need to I need to
yeah.
get a little damp. But well, I'm already damp from my own sweat. But wow, dang. Because I was wondering if maybe that was kind of somewhat seasonal, or maybe that's what they were switching in is like the like longer shirts. I don't know, but
Maybe they might have. I don't know. It was one of those things like you weren't laying by the pool. Like this wasn't like a pool time. This is like I want to find air conditioning and like
yeah,
get out of the sun kind of
when it's
environment.
that hot, you're like I like when you get in the water and it's like not really refreshing.
Yeah,
Like it's
it's a hot
uh
tub essentially at that point. You're like, this isn't going to
yeah
work.
yeah
So
it like works for a couple minutes and then you're like yeah, interesting. All right, let's hear your nighttime experience.
okay, this is a okay. So there's many things like I'm going to talk about a couple of things that are like people talk about when it comes to shows at Tokyo first. Do people sit for shows on the ground for like parades and stuff? Yes, they do. Do they sit for fireworks? Yes, they do. Do they sit before they go in the parks? Yes, they do. Do they sit for this nighttime show? No, they do not. The only place that they do sit is like in the main area in the front, which is the main entrance to Tokyo Disney Sea, and they sit down 3 hours before the show starts. Now,
Wow.
if you know anything about me, my wife, we do not line up for anything like 3 hours before it starts. We're just not those people. We're
Hmm.
like we will happily stand in the back and watch if we can.
Hmm. Especially when you're time limited like that.
Do
Like,
we time limited? Like we're not gonna camp out. We're just not those people. If it was like
yeah,
New Year's Eve at the Magic Kingdom, sure, I'll camp out because that's something totally different. I'm there for that
right.
experience. But if I'm only there visiting for a day, I'm not gonna camp out. This whole thing is in a theater and around kind of thing, and around this is not all one level. So like if you look at World Showcase, it's all one level.
Hmm.
This is like elevation, meaning like it starts low and then goes high all the way up to the volcano.
Okay.
So like, okay, we found this place like close to the front, not too bad, and like there's a barrier, we can see the middle, no problem. Like we're like, it's Disney, they're gonna make it big enough that I can see this from the moon. Like we're not gonna like have any issue seeing whatsoever. And when I say this thing was the size of like the World Showcase Lagoon, it's the size of World Showcase Lagoon, and people are everywhere. And let's just say what was in the middle of the lagoon must have been the size of like one of the tiny islands that we see in the lagoon, and that was it. The middle thing was the size of that, and then they had jet skis going around it, kind of like when you had like Epcot Forever carrying kites, but
Yeah.
like with just, but you're also elevated, so you're like above the kite level, looking down on kites.
like kite tails. Woohoo.
Yeah, and there was no fireworks. It was like a light show, and you were so far away that it's great they used real people like
Hmm.
Aladdin, but when you're looking at Aladdin in the middle of a lagoon and you're really far away, Aladdin looks like the size of an ant.
Yeah. Interesting.
I would say like I'm sure it was good for somebody who was sitting down there in the very very front
Hmm.
and like was there early and sat for 4 hours to get the perfect seat in the front to watch that. I'm sure it was a beautiful show with floats and whatnot. But if you were anywhere else around the lagoon trying to watch it, it was not anything you saw a lot of detail on. Like you couldn't really see what
Gotcha.
was happening. And I'm usually like I would rate even like for me the show at Animal Kingdom even higher, Rivers of Light,
Wow.
than this. Like I was never so disappointed on a Disney show. I wish I saw the Paint the Night parade the night before.
Mm.
And
Oh,
additionally,
that's bummer.
where you're up on the top level, they don't sit, by the way. They all stand and they all put their cameras up. So that was one thing we did learn in Japan. They're very polite, but it's very camera forward,
Okay.
where everybody has you sunrise. You will be looking at somebody's screen.
Oh wow. So would you say like probably on par with like in the US or even like more extreme with that?
I would say almost more. Um,
Wow.
it's very much very much a polite culture. I would say they're very accommodating, but at the same point, they all film everything.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
like if you've ever been on a trip where like you went to like the first, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party or Halloween
Hmm.
party and you were just there with every vlogger blogger in the world,
Yeah, that has a media pass. Yeah.
that's what you're there with a lot. So just it's doesn't if it doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother you. But if you're in the
Hmm.
back row of a ride, you will see people with some phones.
Yeah. Yeah. That is interesting. Um, that is very interesting.
But besides that though, I mean, it's a must do if you're a Disney fan, in my opinion. It's you got to see it at least once. Would we go back? Absolutely. Next time we go back to Japan, if we are able to go back, we will
Hmm.
definitely add time to go do it.
Oh yeah.
Um, because it's just a different experience of Disney that you can ever have, and it's so familiar but so different all at the same time.
Yeah. Before we kind of wrap this part of the conversation, talk to me a little bit about their downtown Disney area. If you had anything about, no, you said Fantasy Springs, but that's the in the park. Never mind.
Yeah, Fancy Springs in the park. So the downtown Disney area, it's similar to California. Very small.
Yep.
It's multi levels.
Oh, okay.
There's a variety of dining inside of it, and I would say the dining was actually pretty good. So like to kind of give you an idea of where I stand, Disney Springs is not a place I go for dining often at Disney World because a lot of the restaurants I don't think are anything that are great personally. I mean, there are a couple good ones that I do like, but majority of them I think are just average. This had a lot of things that were I thought pretty good, and we enjoyed quite a bit. Like, and it's more local kind of food. So you're talking about ramen, you're talking about things like those kind of dishes. You're talking about unique ice creams. So one thing to always note: their sweets are not as sweet as ours. They use less sugar,
Okay.
and but they're delicious. I mean, the ice creams are fantastic. The cakes are fantastic. Just kind of know that if you're looking for something super sweet, it's not going to be super sweet. If you like things that are much more just sweet, then you'll enjoy it quite a bit. And there's also very big on the texture thing, meaning
Hmm.
that there's a lot of textures that you're just like, I am not familiar with that, and there should not be that soft.
That's fair.
They love the gelatins. They love like little
Yeah.
like you see all the pictures, and yes, they're all like different shapes of like what they're supposed to taste like, but there's not a lot of flavor to it. It's more of a texture thing for them. As far as that
Interesting.
goes, it's but it's good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of shopping in their downtown Disney, not nearly as much as you would think. It's more food.
Gotcha. What is something that you wish you would have known going into it, besides that maybe go to Paint the Night instead of the other show?
Oh, something I wish I knew before I went in. That's a great question. I mean, the big thing is the amount of people. I
Mhm.
know I was there during a busy weekend, and you hear all these things about like how long the lines are, and you see all the TikTok videos and whatnot. I will say that the TikTok videos on getting in are not a, near. That's blown out of proportion. That's absolutely
Okay.
blown out of proportion. But the amount of people is definitely on the weekends. If you can avoid it, it's definitely worth it.
Okay.
We couldn't avoid it just based upon what our itinerary was, but like people line up a lot earlier than you ever expect. Like if happy entry for Fancy Springs was starting at 8:45, people were lined up at 6 a.m. So our
That's like
natural,
marathon weekend expo level, like nutto, like
but like
whatever. Which I'm part of it, but
yeah, but the big thing you have to remember, like as like we are also like as people in the U.S., we think like, oh, people line up, we should line up. This is going to be crazy. It's part of their culture to line up a little bit earlier, I think, and
mhm.
kind of be there. If you're a little get there like we got there 30 minutes before happy entry, we were further back. It maybe took us an extra 3 minutes to get in, and it was like not
So
worth the
still
extra.
efficient,
It's still
still
very efficient, but like
polite. Yeah. Okay.
you feel like that as a Disney person, like you see all these people line up, you're like, oh my god, I got to get in line. Don't feel as compelled. And we did that the first day, and that was a mistake because you sit in the sun and you just bake
Bake.
like
Yeah.
crazy, like, and it's not worth it at that point. So I wish I knew that ahead of time. Like the lines that you see them, they're not as bad as they actually turn out to be for like getting through things.
Gotcha. Interesting. Huh. Do you have any other last minute kind of like little pieces of your Japan trip you want to share, or just would you do Disney? Well, now that you've been,
Mhm.
would you still do Disney at the front end, or would you maybe because you're a little bit more familiar, maybe cap off a trip with it?
If I were to do it, I would want to do it during the middle of the week. So we weren't able to. So like our last day there was like the first day of their big holiday week.
Okay.
And when I say people didn't stop walking through the entrance for like waves of people, like for 45 minutes straight, it was just like you were watching the waves of people walking to Times Square on New Year's Eve. Just like, oh my God, they just don't stop.
Wow.
So like if I was to go in to plan another trip, wherever way I could put it, whether it's like early or late, if I could make it fall in the middle of the week, I would do
Tuesday
that.
to Thursday or something.
Yeah, I would do that over anything else, just because you will more than likely have a better trip
Hmm.
and more time, because a lot of locals don't go in during those times.
Gotcha. That's interesting. That's fair. Yeah. If you have anything else about your travels in Japan before
That's a
we.
whole other podcast, and I'm more than happy
Okay.
to
All right.
talk because we were there for 2 weeks. So it was Sria's 40th birthday, so we did a big trip,
Oh,
and we
awesome.
toured the whole entire country. We did a cruise around the whole country. The one thing I will
Oh.
say that this is just a fun story, and this kind of tells you we had an unbelievable time. It was a trip of a lifetime. I
Hmm.
can't say enough good things about it. It's one of those trips where it was so surreal. It's sometimes hard to articulate how
Yeah, that's
great it
fair.
was. But we had an experience that was, I think people can relate to and also laugh. So, long story short, when you go on a cruise in Japan, you have to leave the country for one stop. It's a requirement of the country, and you have to come back. But unlike coming back to like the United States, there's no expedited entry for cruise ships. You have to go through customs immigrations the same way you go through customs immigration, like at the airport. So you go one by one
Okay.
through it. So we knew that going in, so we wanted to make sure we got off the ship early that day. So we were like one of the first ones off the ship. And then this was a port that they usually make it like not so great because like they know it's a long day. Sometimes take up to 5 hours to clear the whole entire ship for, and you can't go back on until everyone gets through immigration and customs. So, anyways, we wanted to go up to this place called Kumamoto. Kumamoto is like has this like historic garden. It has this great castle and everything. And when we look at it, the train was supposed to take like an hour and a half to 2 hours each way. We're like, oh my god. Well, it turned out there was a bullet train, which was great. Got there in 15 minutes. So we flew up there, no problem. Enjoyed the whole entire day. Wonderful day. And on the way back, we were like taking the bullet train back. And we had one of those times where like you're in the train station, nothing's in English. We're like legit in Japan now at this point. Like
Hmm.
English is no one's primary language, and very few people do speak it. Younger generations do, but not the older generations. And they are also very precise on timing. Like when we say precise, we mean like if the train is leaving at this time, it's leaving at this time. It's not leaving
Hmm.
earlier. It's not arriving earlier. It's not leaving later or anything like that. Well, anyways, we found our platform. We run up to the train, and there's a train there, and we're like, That's our train. Not thinking to ourselves how precise they were, and we got on the train.
Oh.
And the train went. And then we're going, and then all of a sudden, like, we're kind of like looking around, and Serena realizes very quickly that this train's an express train. Not an express train to our stop,
No.
an express train to like 80 miles, 90 miles away. And we look back and forth. Everyone has luggage, and people are taking naps. We're like, oh, this can't
Oh
be.
no.
So we go into full fledged kind of like, what the hell do we do mode? So
Hmm.
like, Serena like automatically she uses WhatsApp and calls the cruise line to tell them what the hell happened. I went up and down the train trying to find a conductor. Like when I say
Hmm.
like we were in the front of the train, yeah, I went all the way to the back and all the way to the front looking for a conductor. I'm not sure where he was. I couldn't find him. Then all of a sudden I turned around, he was there. It was a, and the conductor does not speak English at all. But they have an iPad that you can speak into and they speak into, and it kind of translates everything.
Okay.
And I'm like, we need to get off this train. And he's like, no way in hell. That's not happening. I'm like, I told you, he's like, why? I'm like, I explain what happened. He goes, yep, you'll get for the next stop. I'm like, we have to catch a cruise ship, and the cruise ship might leave without us. And like at this time, we look out the window and it goes, there's our stop. And we flew by at about 175 miles an hour. We're like that.
Oh.
And long story short, because I don't want to bore everybody, but more or less, we got off at the next stop. He basically was the nicest man in the world and basically explained to us, you're going to get to the next stop. Here's the train you're going to get onto. It's going to get you back at this time. And don't get on this train beforehand and don't get on this train after it. And you'll get back and you'll be okay. So, anyways, we get off the train. We go tell the ticket person, they validate ticket. They explain to us again, like, don't get on the next train that's coming. Get on the one after it. Clearly, we are the people they need to explain this to in detail. We get back to the train thing and we get back to our stop. And we literally thought we were going to miss our cruise ship. And we
Hmm.
still had about a 35-minute taxi ride to get to the cruise port, to our cruise ship. And we get into our car, and this guy is driving like Mario Andretti. But then I think he realizes how fast he was driving because we get to like the cruise port, and like it was definitely cheaper than the way there because he went so fast. And he slowed down to like a crawl. Or like, is he trying to run up the clock on us? I'm like, dude, I'll just give you the extra money. I don't care.
I'll pay full fare. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll pay you a flat rate. I don't care. Anyways, so we barely make it to our cruise ship, and then we get there. We tell like the person's like, "Oh, you guys are the ones calling and whatnot." We're like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, you have plenty of time." It was 2 minutes before the cruise ship was leaving, and the thing was like the ship was actually going to have a day at sea before it would then go to another port. And we're all sitting there with all we have is our backpacks, which have like umbrellas,
Yeah.
our cell phone,
Oh.
a charger, and I'm like, then like we literally look on the map how far away we went, and it was close to about 85 miles from where our stop was. That's how fast the trains go. And the moral of the story is like they are just remember Japanese are very precise and don't just assume the train that's there is your train, especially if it's early.
Duly noted.
That was the I've never missed a cruise ship, and I was like, oh my god, I'm actually gonna it's gonna happen.
Oh, oh man, that's nuts. But
Yeah.
it's good. Everybody was helpful.
It was helpful, but like you could see like all of us, like the amount of energy in our face just went like gone.
Yeah.
We're like, oh god. Reality hit really quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like, and I don't actually speak the language, and like I don't actually know how to read this, and like I can do some like at least we have benefits of technology to like actually kind of help with a little bit of translation. But oh man.
Yeah, and like you're trying to figure out how to then you're gonna have to navigate to a we're like literally on the other side of Japan. Like it's a giant island,
Yeah.
but like one of like I think 7 islands, but we're like one of the furthest parts you could be from where we're going next.
Whoa.
So it's just
Making me
like
sweaty.
she was like, well, let's go back to Tokyo. I'm like, we can't just go back to Tokyo and wait for the cruise ship to come back. We need to get our luggage. It's on the ship.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. What a day.
That was
What
fun.
a
It was fun.
oh yeah.
You can look back now and laugh. It's one of those things you can look back in because it all worked out. But like in the moment, yeah, stressful as can be.
Yeah, I can only imagine that. The training for dopies for me no big deal.
That's gonna be very painful.
That's going to be way more long and drawn out. I
That's
guess maybe I'll
yeah.
go running dopey won't be as painful.
I hope so. Like in my mind, and my thought is like if I run and train for a marathon, the 5K and the 10K should be nothing. This
It's
should
the
be easy.
half.
This should be easy, and then I just need to make sure I don't kill myself on the half marathon.
Yeah. I gotta say, as somebody who did it like the opposite way of I did multiple multi-day distance challenges before I did one standalone. I can't say I felt that much better during Chicago this year.
Really,
Like
so like
I can't say I didn't have that. I was like, I mean, there was just some other factors with that, but I was like, I can't say that I was like, woo, I have so much energy at mile 20. Like I still was like, my legs hurt, my feet hurt, my like, I was fine, but like it was one of those like, I don't want to be running anymore,
it's a
type of
time.
things.
It's a time on feet thing. Like that's what I
Yeah.
realized after my last my first, well, my last, my only marathon was like at 3 hour mark. No matter what you do, it's horrible.
Yeah. Sometimes I can get to like 3:45 in the Delulu zone during training, and I'm like, then you get to 4, and I'm like, oh my God, like that's like half of a day of work.
Yeah,
Like, oh, actually, like probably less than, but in reality, but like that's like a whole half day of work, and I've been just on my feet this whole time.
yeah,
Or like before you set out, it's like, I'm not coming back to my house for probably like almost 5 hours. That's great. Unless I stop to use the bathroom at my own house. But it gets wild. But it'll be fine.
hey, it's only once.
Well, that's what we all say.
We will see. We will see.
You might be more resolved than I am, but I always, like right now I'm talking myself out of it for next year. But then when I do that, and then I'm like, oh, my proof of time is I need to get another one. I'm like, oh, but I probably should do dopey again next year because if I'm doing, well, also if you're going to do it, then like I feel like I need to be there. Just whenever I like bad influence somebody into it, I'm like, well, I guess I got to do it too.
Yeah, I'm not expecting any kind of amazing time. I'll leave it at that.
I got to say my marathon PR is from dopey last year.
Is it really?
It sure is. I ran faster than that. I had a bad Chicago. I had a not great Chicago for me. Like the first half was great. And then I spent like 12 miles trying not to vomit. Not fun.
No.
But I still ran pretty well, all things considered. It was like 11 minutes over my current PR. So like, for that being a bad day, pretty good day.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
But yeah, my PR is from dopey last year. Crazy person things, but I went in to race it, so it'll be kind of nice this week as like I do not have the bones in me to attempt to do any kind of racing, and I actually mean it this time. So it's shenanigan marathon this week.
The way I look at every race is like I don't like I've raced a couple, like I've never raced at Disney. I've raced other races outside Disney, and I've gotten to like the point where it's like this is my own crazy mindset is like the race itself is your time to celebrate all the work you put in. So like just wherever it takes. If it takes you, 3 hours to do a half marathon, it takes you 3 hours to do a half marathon. If you go out and just enjoy it. It's why like I think I stop for every single character. Because it's like one of those things like I'm like, why not?
Yeah, why not? Especially for like a 5K too at Disney. It's like, well, the bus isn't gonna start till this time. So like I might as well enjoy myself.
For the 5K too, like I can't run a fast 5K if I even try. Like it takes me at least 3 miles to warm up. Like I'm one of those people.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'd say that like a 10K, I don't know, but I've also haven't tried to race a 10K in a long enough time that I don't know.
That's the best distance in my book. I love a 10K.
I think I'm a half girly because I think that I'm also just kind of like methodical of like how I chunk out my 5Ks in that, and then just like that going down World Drive from Magic Kingdom back to Epcot. When you go from 6.2 to 9.3, that's like my playtime. That's time to cook. We're in the kitchen and it's time to cook. That's time to rip it. Even if I'm not really racing that time, I just do it for sport sometimes. Just if I spent too much time in Magic Kingdom during that race and I'm like, I need a little more buffer. It's like, that's just for sport. Just to like see like how fast can I get to not like race, especially if I have dopey or a marathon the next day, but like just, it's for fun.
See, I do.
You have elbow room.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, plenty of elbow room. The only thing that hurts is your ankles.
the camber. Uh,
All of it, just it's just the road is curved. Like you're trying to find some place that's somewhat flat, and like, oh,
yeah, yeah, it happens. Can't wait to be back out there in not that many days.
this time next week.
Yep. Yep. That's which is nuts. I can't believe it's already here. I think for me, it's also that like Chicago was, I felt like I had the whole marathon build up for Chicago like 3 months ago. And now I'm like, oh, there's another one of those. Like, not that in the way that like I've been training, I have been like, but it's kind of like one of those like, oh, usually it's like 9 more months before I have to start thinking about that again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm not doing this whole 2 marathons in a year thing again, because that's almost certainly a lie. But, I'm going to think long and hard before that happens and probably still do it anyway. But
Hey, you never know.
yeah,
I said I would never run another
I'm,
marathon after Columbus, and here I'm thinking about doing one in a year.
yeah. Oh, someday the Dopey Challenge comes for us all.
It's on my bucket list thing to do. The hardest thing's gonna probably be trying to get in for it. That's the only thing that's gonna be tough. If I can sign up for it, that'd be.
Yeah, I will say, and this might be a little bit of a bold, like, kind of statement to make, so I'll be interested to listen back to this in like a year. But because this next year in 27, it's the year before an anniversary year. I wonder if it's going to be a little bit chiller on I mean, I still run Disney registration. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but a little bit because people are like on like an every couple year cycle are going to take a year off. 28's the next time that it's an anniversary, and that's the 15-year anniversary of Dopey because 23 was the 10-year anniversary. So I wonder if some more people might be, and it's the 35-year anniversary of Marathon Weekend in general. Yes, because it was 10 and 30 for my first marathon. So I wonder if maybe this is going to be a little bit of a more relaxed, again, still run Disney registration. And if they hit me with another buck-toothed Dopey, I guess I'm in. His little tooth is so cute. He got me. That's what got me. But I wonder if, fingers crossed, that maybe when it's March, that it's on St. Patrick's Day as registration for next year. So a little luck there.
Oh, okay. It's good to
But
know.
yeah, that was just announced this morning as of recording.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I didn't hear when it was actually.
Literally just came out.
That's good. That's good to know.
But yeah, so they did announce the whole next season. So, and registration dates, and all that jazz.
Fantastic. Well, I already knew when Wine and Dine was. This is how I think. I want to get a room at the Polynesian.
DVC.
Yeah, Polynesian room is what I need.
Yeah, your DVC registration 11 months out.
Yep.
Then you have your block off the time of the calendar to actually register for aforementioned race. And then there's, the training and stuff. But
oh, no, so like that's the thing. Is like that's why I took a year off. I didn't take a year off from running. I took a year from running races at Disney to build up my base. Because
okay.
I've learned very much. Like my base right now for a half marathon is 100%. It's not aerobic; it's anaerobic.
Okay.
I need to build up more endurance to go for a marathon. So, yeah.
So where you did plug at the beginning, but just in case people forgot, where can people find you?
Where can you find me? So best place to find me is you can head to my website, which is dismornings.com. Or if you want to go shopping, you can go to dismornings.store, which has all of our t-shirts and everything. From there, you'll find all of the social medias and whatnot. If you really care about me as a person, you can also just follow me directly. It's Nate Bishop on all social media. That's my personal stuff. So feel free to follow me there too.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on. And this was a great time.
Thanks, Natalie. I've always appreciated it and look forward to hearing how your Dopey weekend goes.
Me too.
You're going to crush it.
To be honest with you.
You're going to crush it.
It'll be fun. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. I'm calmer than normal.
Every time you run a race, you literally send me a message saying you PR'd. So I'm expecting nothing less.
Don't expect more than that this time. Honestly, honest to God. Accidental PR, like closer to like Princess, maybe. But also I'm trying to also enjoy them for what they are, and then like find more local ones to like race. But
there you go.
Because my POT goal, I think that's going to be a fall goal, is when I need to renew that by. But that's
a future issue.
Exactly. We got to focus on the here and now.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Natalie. Welcome to the Stride Sisters podcast.
Thanks again to Nate for joining us on this week's episode. If you are going to Marathon Weekend, good luck. Good luck, whether you're doing from the 5K to the Dopey Challenge, if it's your first, if it's your 10th, good luck. I hope to see you there. Good luck finding me because I am kind of like Where's Waldo sometimes, except I don't wear stripes. But enjoy. If it's your first Marathon Weekend, enjoy everything it has to offer. It's a special time. There's a reason why this is a lot of people's favorite. If you enjoy listening to our show, please leave us a review and a 5-star rating. We love reading your reviews out loud. You might even be featured on a future podcast episode. We have a community spotlight on our Instagram at Stride Sisters Podcast. If you want to be featured for a Medal Monday, Finish Line Friday, or any accomplishment you want to celebrate, send us a picture via our social media platforms or our email. And to continue the fun, join us on our Facebook page. All the ways to connect with us can be found in the show notes. Thanks for listening. Until our next adventure, we're wishing you endless miles of magic and memories. See you next time.